The darkness threatened to overcome our light. But a glimmer of hope escaped the shadows of the underworld. The messenger arrived here at the Ogun River, my home. I will not abandon those in need. The waters are patient and cleansing. My allies will know the strength of the tides, and our enemies will fear the flood.
Welcome back to the SPL, everybody. You just saw it there on your screen. Yamoja has joined the Battleground of the Gods. She is live right now on your clients at home, so make sure you go play test that and have a little bit of fun, man, because that god is a lot of fun for sure. And this set is going to be a lot of fun. Aggro joined by Zeros here on the desk. And Zeros, I think this matchup is going to be one. I don't know what's going to happen. It's Renegades, who've only lost one set since MSI, but it was the last time they played, and they did not look good up against Dignitas.
True.
Against Eunited, who sometimes looks like one of the best teams in the world, and then other times looks like they can't beat anybody. I mean, I've got no idea what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel exactly the same. I have absolutely no idea, because you look at last week, both these teams played, and both teams looked awful.
Yeah.
Pretty much, honestly. It was not a good showing from either Renegades or United. So this week, they're either going to turn it around fully and look really good, and maybe both teams look really good, and we're going to have a really good set, or it might be a clown fiesta. You never know.
Oh, no, I didn't even consider that both teams might look like they did last week, man. We're hoping that that's not the case, and I think that will not be the case. Renegades, I think, a team that, if you're in their shoes, you're not showing a whole lot of stuff before Worlds, right? I mean, you set the meta at MSI, you kind of changed the way the game was played, and now other teams are adjusting. There's no reason for you to show your card, I don't think.
Sure, but there was also an interview with iRaffer last week where they had a discussion in the team where Raffer didn't care about seeding, so if win or lose now before HRX, because he said he thinks it's better to lose before HRX, because the winning teams before HRX never does well anyway. But then he has also said that Cherryo was the opposite of him, where he really wanted to win. So it's so hard to tell.
You never know. All I know is that Nika has been a standout member for Renegades so far this year. He's really upped his game. We had a chance to talk with him about this set and the end of the season. Let's take a look.
Well, a lot of people were saying oh, Dig's done or whatever, because they had a rough few weeks, but everyone knows they're still a top team. I expected them to play well against us. We always have really close sets. So I think they played as I expected, but we played terribly. I think our drafts were pretty bad and we didn't really prepare well for the game. We kind of just arrived, played left, and just moved on really. So I'd say the biggest issue was our preparation for that set. I'd say phase 2 has been, we were undefeated up until our last set against Dig, so obviously it's been going great. Way better than the first phase, but kind of slowing down now, I'd say. We're slowing down to prepare for Worlds in a few weeks mainly, and just playing what we already know instead of bringing new stuff in. Saving that for Worlds mainly, so I'd expect us to play a lot more sloppy, which is true, but can't be too sad with pretty much being undefeated the whole phase so far. So after this we have SSG and PK. We haven't really seen SSG since their change, which made them look a bit better, so don't know what to expect from them, but should expect to win that set from how the season's gone. And PK have been, they played really well with Ro. I think they're gonna have a lot of momentum, so that's gonna be a tough set. So if we're able to win all three, then we're looking at second place for Worlds, which would be great. I think that's the best case scenario, but other than that, we're top 6 and that's all that matters, so just focusing on Worlds.
You heard it right there from Nika himself. This team slowing down a little bit pre-Worlds, getting prepared, but understanding that they've got a potential to get towards that top end of the seeding going into the SMITE World Championships. But their matchup today isn't anything but guaranteed. Eunited is a team that has looked very good at times, and when they do, it's almost always around what Ice, Kalas, and Benji are doing in the early game.
Yeah, for sure. Benji especially, like some games, like some sets, United has been struggling a lot through phase 1 and phase 2. Like some of the sets they lose, they just don't look good at all. And I think Benji, like, what do you do if your team is not doing well? But like whenever United is playing well, I think Benji has been such a beast. I feel like him, Variety, and Final K are like the big King Arthur players, you know, like, just so good.
They run games still. They make him look like he's pre-patched King Arthur, you know. They're the only ones who are able to make it look that good, that consistently. And I think that lost because of the struggles of a United has been Benji's consistency over here in the solo lane. I feel like he is the one guy that's looked good game in, game out for this squad. He plays a lot of the Yorm, he plays a lot of the King Arthur. I like him more on that King Arthur style. I feel like the Jormungandr, he doesn't get to hard carry nearly as hard as he does on the traditional warriors.
Yeah, I feel like the same with all the top solo laners in my opinion. I want to know something that really can dominate the mid game, because I feel that's where solo laners really can shine.
Yeah.
Like when you have that power spike with Glad Shield, Boots, Black Front's Hammer, you rotate to a Gold Fury fight, you're like 3 levels above everyone, you can 1v4. And that's like with the King Arthurs, the sets are so much stronger than the Jorm.
Exactly, and the Osiris, things like that. I mean, when you're 4 levels down to an Osiris as a mid laner, you just accept you aren't playing that team fight. You know, you're just not allowed. And I think that that's the direction that United will likely go for Benji here, because he's got to be the one you're going to lean on overall. I think that the centered around United's struggles, for as consistent as Benji has been, emilitoo's been the exact opposite, right? On the other side of the map, when United is not looking particularly good, it's often because emilitoo has been found ineffective.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a super weird season for him, I think. He has looked like really good some games too, though, so have to give him some credit as well.
Absolutely.
But he's just like a weird kind of player, you know, because he plays so many weird stuff. He pretty much never plays what is in the meta.
Right.
He's been playing some top ADC lately, which is meta, I guess, Kronos. But like, he plays so much weird stuff, so we'll see what he plays today. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. Renegade's going to kick us off in that first pick slot. You agree with me that first pick is at a pretty big advantage right now? Would you rather be in first pick?
Probably, yeah, because like you can just like respect band the enemy team a lot more, like take away the comfort picks.
Ratatosker, one of those. iceicebaby has been the big proponent of that one. I'm a little surprised because I think that if I'm in these teams' shoes, we're both already going to Worlds. Persephone's the type of god that I think I'm letting through to see who's going to play it, what their playstyle is like with it. I mean, maybe we can get it and see if we can make it work. I think that's the type of god that you don't want to show up unprepared for at the World stage. And we will see Persephone left open because in those 5-game sets at Worlds, that kind of stuff just usually happens.
I don't
think so?
I don't think so, man.
Come on, man. If we saw Nike in Season 3, if we saw Alquan in Season 1.
Wasn't that when Nike was just released, pretty much?
Yeah, she was busted.
Yeah, but she has never been played in competitive before that, right? Because like she wasn't up. Like Persephone, I think people all let. I'm pretty sure in scrims, people let it through sometimes, and they're like,
maybe we should. We've already learned our lesson.
Yeah, it's like, I think that might be the case, but who knows?
Fair enough. Thor is open here for Renegades, and that's something that we know that Cherryo and Nika both like, but Amaterasu will be that first selection. This doesn't feel particularly like a iRaffer god to me. In fact, if Nika's not playing this, I'd expect it to go to Cherryo more than anybody else.
Yeah, like Cherryo, also one of them players, like kind of similar to emilitoo, where he also plays a lot of off-meta stuff. Gone more to the meta kind of picks this season though than he has in previous seasons, but still like could definitely whip out something like the AB jungle.
I'm a little surprised that Renegades don't first pick the Geb and just keep Kalas off of those defensive guardians. Those seems to be his real wheelhouse right now with the Kepri ban. The Geb left open and United snatched that up right away alongside the Thor. 2 very strong picks for United to kick us off right here. So Renegade's going to need something to try and match it. I think Thoth is probably going to be heavily contested. Funballer and emilitoo both play that one. Maybe you prioritize the On-Her here early on, but instead it's the Naja. Could be iRaffer, but likely Cherryo in the jungle. But Geb kind of thought of as a counter pick most of the time, the Naja.
Yeah, perhaps. I guess he has his passive where like he doesn't take as much damage from the crits if he ever gets ulted like that kind of stuff. But I think Nika has played it as well, right?
He may have.
So
yeah.
like this could still be very flexible. Those 2 picks.
Jing Wei picked up. Usually that has gone to Funballer when Renegades play it. We've seen Rival play Jing Wei mid for Panda Cat. Wouldn't surprise me at all if it was in the God pool for Dardez. And I'm a little bit concerned if that is in the long lane because you're going to need a mage. You can't put Dardez on the On-Her in the mid lane no more. If I'm a United, I think that I'm banning mages right here because if that's Ama support or Naja support, you're looking at a lot of physical damage on the enemy team. I think gods like Poseidon are a good ban here that could flex into mid, ADC, or jungle potentially.
Yeah, interesting though. What is Dardez mage god pool anymore? Like I don't even remember at this point.
I know it's Poseidon.
Yeah, I know he played Poseidon. Yeah, but say they get banned there, what is he gonna play?
Who knows? I don't think that anyone does really, and that's something the Renegades would likely like to keep under wraps before this Smite World Championship. Athena banned, trying to keep iRaffer off a traditional Guardian. That would pair well with a potential Poseidon, but they take it off the board. Thoth by Renegades makes me believe that this could be Jingwei ADC, but Eunited does have the first pick out of this banning phase, so they want to keep that off the board. As Eunited, I really think the Poseidon's their best possible ban right here.
Yeah, it should be. Like, it is a Dardez. Okay, they didn't. Okay, I'm pretty sure Dardez will look for the Poseidon. Renegade can also look for the Poseidon. Eunited, I mean, because they have next pick, so they could also look for the Poseidon and take it away. Maybe that's why they don't ban it.
That's true, and Olarun's certainly a good ban. I wouldn't criticize anybody for an Olarun ban at any stage, really. As Morrigan banned away, trying to, again, hit emilitoo's god pool over there in that long lane.
Yeah, kinda odd though, because he played Morrigan last week, and it looked really bad.
It did not look good.
Yeah.
I would agree with that for sure. So now Eunited has the pick before Renegades get to round out their draft. Probably taking, I don't know if you want to show what you have in that solo lane right now, because Thor always has that potential to go over there, so maybe not pick a jungler or a solo laner, but it will be Jorm. Safe selection. You're never angry about picking Jorm, I don't think.
Sure, but we also talked about how we want to see Benji on these stronger mid-game warriors, right? Because like, I feel like that's where he really can succeed. But I mean, Jorm is always a solid pick, so why not?
Fafnir hovered now, but it was initially a Ymir hover. Ymir very good against Jormungandr, not so good up against Hou-Yi Thor necessarily. Scylla being hovered here. I almost wonder if it'll be Scylla ADC, because I feel like you kind of want her to get all that farm right now. I mean, that seems like a god that could do well in that 1v1, at least as far as farm potential. Do you think that's more of a Funball god or a Dardez god?
I think we've seen the mid laners get a little bit more farmed in like the last couple of weeks
That's
as well.
true.
I'm not sure why. I guess the level 1 has changed a little bit, but I think you want to keep the Scylla as close to the Nash as possible, right? And there's probably going to be Nash at jungle, so I would assume it's Scylla mid, but you never know.
And a Raijin locked in for Eunited, almost certainly going to ADC. This is a pick that emilitoo's played a lot. It feels like Hou-Yi there in the mid lane, though. I do believe that BigManTingz has a Raijin in the god pool. A lot of gods that are getting buffed, but not buffed yet getting played. First it was Tyr, then Kukulkan, now Raijin. All three getting buffs in the next change, or next update. You can play it at home right now with Yemoja, by the way, but not right now. So I don't know. I think Raijin in his current state on this patch is not worth playing, personally. I don't think
I don't agree. I think it's still really strong. Like, even after the buff, it's just some base damage on the 2, like a little bit scaling on the 2. It will change a little bit, but like, late game is very similar to what is on next patch. So like, I think Raijin late game is still like definitely one of the top picks, I think.
He spreads damage a lot, for sure, in the late game. It just feels like he takes too many items to get there for me, but that's why he put him in the long lane. Renegades up against Eunited. No one knows what's going to happen here. Let's throw it to the casters so that they can tell us what goes on.
Yeah, least of which is the two teams involved. Thanks, Aggro, and thank you, Zeros on the desk. Which version of Renegades and Eunited are we going to get here in this set? That is the big overarching question. Indeed, it's Finch and F. Dot here on the cast.
Hey.
And already a big early grouping from Eunited as they try and place some wards so they know what's going on around the speed buff.
Yeah, they're not looking for a play here at all. If somebody walks into the trap, they will eat them, but that is really defensive. You want to get the real deep vision here. You see the red buff. And that's because this, or the red ward here, this ward will tell you everything. Where Cherryo starts, Cherryo walks over it, and he walks towards the right. Now he's going to walk back over it. It'll tell you if he sits at the speed, the red, or goes to blue.
Yes, exactly right. It's really even more about do they do the buff and then where do they go afterwards to give Eunited that information on where they need to go to. And when Eunited played last week, we got to be kind of brutally honest, it looked like emilitoo wasn't quite up to where he usually plays for this team. But they've had some time now. They should be able to get back on pace. And if they're back to where they were, if Renegades, they struggled last time too, are back where they were, this should be a really, really good set between these two teams. It doesn't change a lot for them, obviously, going into Worlds and all that, but you know they still want to come out and get the win, especially, you know, some teams that are familiar with each other.
Yeah, I think that's really the key there is iRaffer and emilitoo have some history. And I think there's going to be an interesting kind of clash of the Titans there. That's certainly what I'm looking at. iRaffer, one of the more active support players. I want to see him hit the gas. I want to see Renegades kind of come back to where they were supposed to, because they are not the #1 team in the standings, but people have been calling them, myself included, been calling them one of the teams, if not the #1 team, one of the teams to watch out for. And that is a fleeting title. If you don't have it on the standings and it's just per conversation, well, you can be left out of that conversation.
At any given time, really, Renegades, with just this Naja, really it feels like for this early to mid-game, the Jing, the Scylla, those are both gods that are going to want some time to get these items online. So there is going to be a lot of pressure, it feels like, onto Cherryo and iRaffer for trying to make something happen here up against iceicebaby's Thor. This Hou-Yi should be able to establish some pressure over the Scylla without too much trouble, and then be involved early, though Colossus on the Geb is a bit slower.
Yeah.
Eunited probably going to be a little bit more active sooner.
I think so. iceicebaby, is up to him to really set the pace of the game, and it's up to Cherryo to stop that. Cherryo on the Naja is a character that can do the same thing as Thor, bop to lane, go from objective to objective, and kind of schedule things the way that he wants, but the rest of the team is not built that way around it. iceicebaby, though, certainly has a bunch of players, a bunch of tools that he can be aggressive with, and that's why we see this attempted invade here coming out from Eunited.
It'll be a 2v3. Colossus blinks in, shockwave to the backline. iRaffer trying to keep iceicebaby out, but he's looking to line up a hammer at the last minute to steal, but that's the reset from Renegades. They know that Iceice and Colossus can't afford to stay committed to this for long for fear of rotations. So they reset it, send them back, and now they grab the buff on their own, though their time was a bit wasted.
Yeah, it's twofold. Not only can they not avoid the rotation, but they also, blue team is on a timer as well. So sure, United kind of wasted a little bit of Renegades' time, but well, there's Renegades wasting United's time. United makes sure to capitalize, though, by successfully getting the blue buff on the right side. That's a good invade, and so with the United spending time on the speed buff, probably not the greatest look, but they did get that transition over to the blue.
And these fights in the jungle are going to get scarier going forward. Both of these supports elect to go with the Blink, which have been pretty popular, but that's into very controlling junglers. The Thor with the wall and the stun, Cherryo with his sash and his ultimate as well. They could potentially become targets relatively easily if they're not careful here in these next few engagements that happen in the jungle.
They usually are. That's why it's very kind of meta game, if you will. It is standard operating procedure to really look for supports prior to level 5, prior to level 10, prior to level Thebes, right? That's when supports are the target, mainly because of a lot of lack of options. We have seen a bunch of beads being picked up by supports lately, most notably Mineral.
Yeah.
But that's usually into enemy compositions that are, and I agree with you, Cherryo and Iceice are both very controlling, but usually into compositions where it's certain death. Fenrir into Big Burst, Ares, stuff like that. That's when you want to start thinking about the beads on the support.
Looks like both of these supports going to elect with that discussion that we saw Tolly and Aggro having last game, right? They were saying that if you're the support, there are a lot of situations where it's kind of your job to be the one that dies. As long as you're dying and taking some cooldowns with you by getting some beads or some relics or something like that out of that trade, your life, sadly, just not that valuable.
And that's why that's why I say the specifications for looking for beads are usually much more devastating, right? The Fenrir ultimate and into some burst, you'll die and you won't get anything for it.
Early ultimate, though, from iceicebaby. They make Cherryo the target. Colossus is there to try and extend the CC chain. Cherryo dashes back in. I think he was trying to find a target with the Windfire Wheels, but couldn't quite get it. So to the sky goes Benji.
One more.
He can continue to die for this, but Cherryo jukes it out, and this last shot has to be defensive. Cherryo avoids a life-threatening situation.
iRaffer gonna blink in and look for
This
more.
kills. Nika's able to find the first blood there on the Colossus of the dazzling offensive, and iceicebaby's running for his life. Benji gonna try his best to find something on the back end, but Nika and iRaffer on their side of the map, they're relatively safe at this point. Renegades on the board first.
iRaffer's choice of the Xing Shen really clean here. Nika obviously able to pick up the first blood bounty, but the knockup won't affect Benji, but the root will. And the combination of abilities there from iRaffer. The knockup is low, it's inconsequential, but you're getting the tick of the passive after the fact from Benji, and then he's rooted for your team to follow up on. I love it.
Collis in the Cataclysm Cherryo, the target, emilitoo right there with the Taiko drums to find a nice kill for United to respond back. So the right side maybe favoring Renegades around this Amaterasu, but left favoring United. They're still not done yet. There's the Ama Monster turnaround, and Tingz is suddenly the one in trouble, thrown back to the tower, and iRaffer gets one more.
Dardez is so damn good. I mean, you don't need me to explain to you what just happened there. Dardez follows up off of his support, just very cut and dry. Beautifully played, beautifully timed. Love the execution coming out from Renegades there. And for what it's worth, Eunited do exactly what I asked them to do and what I hope they continue to do there. The right side fight was iceicebaby saying, this is when we go. Obviously, it doesn't wind up all daisies and good things for them, but iceicebaby is setting the pace of the game, and he should continue to look to do that.
I am wondering why Tingz is there, though, to be honest. Like, why he's going in for that fight. I don't know if maybe he gets pulled in there and feels like he has to commit, or if he doesn't know iRaffer's that close and he thinks he has a chance to try and punish Dardez on the backside of I'm a Monster. But either way, he does end up falling for that one, and that's tough. Look at this build path Dardez is going. It is the Shoes of Focus that we see more now, but not the Doom Orb. This is a book start for him. Very curious where he's going to go for it. This is slow, and getting that kill is going to help accelerate him along that path.
Yeah, I think I just like the Doom Orb a little bit better in a vacuum. We're just talking about 2 items. Let's see the rest of the build, and then I think I can, kind of talk about if I like it better or worse right now. For now, I think what you said is absolutely correct and what we can lean on that. This is a slower build, but you've got a kill, or at least the assist, so you're able to kind of look in that different direction.
Yeah, that would have been a big shutdown potentially for Tingz if he could have slowed Dardez down, potentially going a bit greedy if it is something like a Book of Thought, though.
Yep.
I mean, I just can't imagine. It's so slow. I doubt he'd go that route, but it's not quite to be. Tingz can't find the kill, and instead Dardez goes relatively unpunished.
Across the way, you've got the Transcendence build coming out from BigManTingz, very standard. Boots before it is standard, but I still like the Transcendence first. I think getting your stacks online allows you to make those plays where BigManTingz was probably dead even with a full Transcendence at the end of the day, but you can play more aggressively, and that's what United, their draft is made to do, and these players are made to do. So, I like to see aggression for sure.
Yeah, BigManTingz likes to be that playmaker for them. Usually it's on the on-her lately, though. It's kind of how United had this bit of a resurgence here in Phase 2 where they've looked stronger, but he could certainly do it on gods like this Ho Yi as well, so prioritizing the Ninja Tabi right out of the gate to get him online just that bit faster, and he should have a Transcendence afterwards. emilitoo gets caught in the middle of trying to look for the dash, and he still has it as Funballer finds some nice damage.
emilitoo playing the role of the on-her here. When you look towards the ultimate of the Raijin, it's very similar to what you're looking for out of on-her, whereas BigManTingz gets the whole team involved.
Cherryo in some trouble. Collis look to start things off. A nice backline pressure by iRaffer slows down the aggression on the backline. Collis even gets some help by the wall from iceicebaby, but it's not going to be enough. Dardez with an auto weaves it in, and iceicebaby, this has got to be defensive more than anything. This ultimate looks like he's out.
Love how Renegades spread there. Do you see they create a compass rose just like that? They're all grouped up trying to get this kill because Collis won't die for some reason. And then as soon as Thor goes up, they spread 1 north, 1 south, 1 east, 1 west, right? Never eat seaweed. And they're just not in a position to get 4-man dunked. Not even 2-man dunked. That was really clean. Looked like synchronized swimming.
Never eat seaweed. Some people do that. It's never eat soggy waffles.
Yeah.
You got to keep them crisp and fluffy. You know what I mean?
I agree with that, but it's funny. I eat ramen frequently, and I never get seaweed.
Yeah, but you should, and emilitoo should continue this aggression. He's got some backup coming from iceicebaby right in the Taiko drums. We'll see if he goes for the control. No, it's more for damage. And now he tries to follow that back up, but gets interrupted by Cherryo.
Oh!
In fact, emilitoo goes all the way in aggressively. What a madman. Cost him his life, of course, but he gets the kill and trade. Funballer finds iceicebaby as well. It ends up being 2 for 2.
Oh my goodness. It is going to be 2 for 2. iRaffer dies on the left side. So United lose 2 carries, whereas Renegades lose a carry and a support player. Is it worth it? That is a personal question for emilitoo.
It's definitely vintage emilitoo. It's so vintage it should have shag carpeting, right? With the way that he makes that dive play behind that tier 1 tower. I mean, And I don't know. I mean, losing iceicebaby and emilitoo, they're probably just not going to be equal to the mid and the support going down on that one. It probably favors Renegades there slightly. But if I've got emilitoo feeling himself, I want that guy.
You also kind of brought us into this conversation at the very beginning, saying there's history between these teams.
Yeah.
Emil wanted to kill Craig.
Yes.
That's what happened.
That also certainly could be factoring in at this point. And I mean, and we've had some time to talk to these players here in Season 6 with them around. And iRaffer has kind of, he's been not shy about saying that he likes to beat Emil when he gets a chance to line up against him, adapting as well. When these players sort of, from that energy team that was so strong, get a chance to line up against each other, there's a little bit extra, I think, when they're playing.
iRaffer, shy? The only time they're ever used in the same conversation is when you're saying he's not shy.
Exactly right. A still further aggression from Funballer in lane. He forces emilitoo out, and that's a good time for Funballer to get aggressive. Still another minute where emilitoo's not going to have beads available to him on that left-hand side. We might even see iceicebaby, or not iceice, but Cherryo pay some attention to that side and see if they could potentially catch him. But it is indeed iceicebaby. Perhaps my slip was more prophetic than I thought. Dardez is the target. He has to use beats to get back out of there. Ricochet tries to come through, but doesn't find much, as Eunited still positioned and could come back in.
Well played here by Renegades. Eunited were looking for the red buff with that Thor ult, and unfortunately it didn't go their way.
They force Collis into that Cataclysm early for the CC immunity, throw him right back in to the waiting arms of the rest of Renegades. They get the kill. emilitoo won't make it out either. A double kill for iRaffer. That's the support, ladies and gents, getting a couple kills on the board, and I don't see why Renegades would slow down here.
No reason to whatsoever. iRaffer, again, I love the Xing pick. Straight up, just black and white. We need to see more of this character. He is better than his pick percentage would allow you to believe. He's got a ton of control, a ton of damage. He's allowed to put himself in harm's way and then get out. Separate conversation, iRaffer's playstyle, he puts himself in harm's way and then gets out. There seems to be a common thread there. This is a iRaffer god, it's working out for Renegades, and the question of which team was going to stand up, I think Renegades were always destined to stand up first. I think Renegades will likely take the lead, as they have it here, 2,000 gold at 13 minutes, 7-3. I think they'll continue this direction. But we'll see if United can put a stop in there somewhere.
Dardez, this could be trouble for him, but it would require iceicebaby to have been able to hit there with that Anvil of Dawn. Dardez let him know they're not even connected. But I kind of like that Eunited are taking these fights in these narrow jungle paths, right? With this Ho Yi ultimate, with the iceicebaby, all that control, with Collis too, and emilitoo's damage. Their whole team makes me want to fight in these corridors, and they still haven't been able to get these fights to turn around because Renegades are starting them so much on their own terms.
Exactly, and Eunited, Renegades are kind of getting things in there. But Eunited, I said it before, and things have still not gone their way. But I want to keep seeing iceice look for these plays.
Yeah.
If the second you stop is the second the game goes all to hell. 2,000 gold, 3,000 gold, 4,000 gold, fight into that for sure. And iceice has not shied away from looking for these plays. He's going into the Jotun's Wrath, which means he'll be able to do it more often. I love this choice, and I want to see him continue to double down and be aggressive despite the deficit.
Well, he's definitely gotta. I mean, absolutely Dardez went for the Book of Thoth here, despite some of my perhaps worries about how slow that item can be in an already slow to start goddess. And it's worked so far for him, right? I mean, especially when iceice couldn't find the Anvil of Dawn or the wall earlier as Funballer getting the better of emilitoo in this trade thanks to his 2-level advantage.
Well, I think that was built up by the Renegades intentionally. They know that they've got a Scylla in lane and she's late game. No build path is going to make Scylla an early game character.
Sure, maybe to some degrees, but not going to entirely change it.
And so with that in mind, Renegades just build for the late game and they avoid the mid lane kind of scrums that you see a lot. iRaffer is getting these kind of wraparound kills and these kills in the jungle, like you said, the tight corridors. And by avoiding the mid lane, they're allowing Dardez to play from a safe distance.
It's worked out well for Dardez here so far, 1-1-5, but hard not to talk about iRaffer's performance. 3-1-4, a part of all 7 of his team's kills. He's been so active on the map here so far, and here they are looking for Benji yet again at blue.
And that's the thing is Benji kind of wiggles out of here, is that iRaffer is getting these kills, and they're not cheeky last hits. They're not, oh, they almost got away, I got to clean it up. Nice avoided the Kala's ultimate there from Cherryo. They're legitimate big damage coming out from Xing Chen, chasing the player down and then finishing the job. Look, he's number 4 on the player damage charts. That'll change. Scylla's late game, and Cherryo has been rather quiet.
Look at his third item. My man's building pen. I mean, he's ready to keep it going. He might wish he had a little bit more help right now in the middle of everybody. Goes into the whirlwind of Raijin steel, brings Kalas back for the Armor Monster reset from Dardez, puts the damage into iceicebaby as well. Aegis too late. Funballer keeps that waterfall going as iceicebaby drops as well. Make that a double as emilitoo drops as well. Suddenly 3 members down for United and Renegades in control.
Benji at the back cam. No, I'm not going to knock Benji for that. There's nothing that Benji could do. Maybe knock up a couple of players after the fact, but I mean, that was just a well-executed play by Renegades. They knew Benji wasn't there. Nika makes the rotation, and they're able to make that play. Tier 1 and Tier 2 go down, and we'll take a look at how that damage was dealt out. Dardez, I'm a monster. 1,600 player damage just like that. And then Funball, you combine the explosive bolts with the 521, that's the in-hand damage. That's again over 1,000 damage. This is Renegades knowing where their damage comes from. iRaffer's funneling players into these targets, and then everybody just follows up.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that Dazzling Offensive does nearly 850 as well. Is that ability good? I'll just go ahead and hate on it since Aggro's not on the cast here right now. But yeah, it does a lot of damage, and it can be difficult to avoid. That's a huge fight for Renegades in the middle lane to keep this momentum rolling for them. I mean, I was worried that Scylla might not come online so far, but Dardez has been actively involved since minute 1 here at 2-1-7. It's been a party in the middle lane, and he brought the streamers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's starting it. He's beginning the party. He's in the middle of the party, and he's the last one out of the bar at the end of the night. It is a wonderful look here for Renegades, and that's what you expect out of Dardez.
Is it really with this Scylla? I didn't, at least. I mean, maybe.
With the Dardez, I'm
Sure.
going to say so. With the Scylla, maybe not. But Dardez, that is what he's taught me to expect, honestly. Side note, I do want to mention that Ice just used the ultimate.
Yeah, didn't find much.
No, wanted to make sure that there wasn't a grouping of Renegades looking for the Primal Fury.
What is this? It's Spear of Desolations where iRaffer went with his third item choice.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
mean, he's got the Gauntlet of Thieves, a ton of all protections. He was a good bit ahead of Kalas too. Do you like this here, Spear of Deso?
Spear of Desolation is interesting for iRaffer because, one, the character has a ton of HP 5. So as long as his stuff is on cooldown, he's going to be able to get the sustain in the fights. If he does get the assist, we'll talk after because Primal Fury is almost dead.
Primal Fury is entirely dead. Renegades grab it. Kalas forced to use Cataclysm. Really only gets Nika and iRaffer as Cherryo had emilitoo away in the backline, and Emil trying to find a way to get the Thunder Crash off, but Funballer lines up the airstrike over the wall, and emilitoo has to take a seat. BigManTingz able to jump out as well, but what about Kalas? He's been left to the Wolves, and the Wolves are hungry. That makes 2, and Renegades still not done yet. Cherryo with a max range sash. He wants Tings, and Funballer on a rampage.
Look at these team fights, Finch. They waterfall for multiple characters, and they're just continuing to spiral their way through these team fights. That's why I think the Spear of Deso is okay.
He's gonna get his cooldowns are gonna be constantly up. He has the Shoes of Focus as well to go along with it. I mean, he's gonna get those assist procs for sure. And now they're threatening left side Phoenix. Benji still has the ultimate, but doesn't even charge it in time. Crushes him. That's a deicide United considering the surrender, because this game's out of control.
I mean, they can't win only because of numbers.
Sure.
Like, just because players aren't dead for long enough. Renegades did everything right there, and it just put a cap on the Spear of Desolation conversation here for iRaffer. You know, a lot of times when I say the phrase, play your lead but don't let your lead play you, it's with an emphasis on the latter part, right? Players getting too aggressive, players going too far, overextension, overstaying their welcome. But you've got to pay attention to the first part of that cliche as well. Play your lead. When you are ahead 3 levels in the support role, 2 levels now, you have the luxury of tossing yourself a luxury item and then continuing to build defense. As long as iRaffer continues to build defense, I like the Spear of Deso because I think it allows him to continue to pressure, deal the damage that this character is capable of, and get the resets.
Now, I do think there's still something to be said for the Scylla pick. It is even below iRaffer in terms of damage, so We don't want to give too much of a pass, I suppose. But what about Funballer as well? He's had pressure on emilitoo basically all game. 5-0-8. He grabbed that tier 1 tower before they even started pushing, really as a group 2. The Renegades have kind of pushed Eunited out of frame. They haven't even gotten to try anything they want to do. And now FG being looked at. Iceicebaby heading right for Funball in the back.
Not even worried about looking for the steal. Instead, just looking for the team fight, and honestly just sets up Collins for trouble. Crush, and Cherryo gets the kill.
Get passive's like, am I a joke to you as Funballer rains in the crits on him? emilitoo is in some trouble, has to use type code drums just to avoid the whirlwind of rage and steel, but it doesn't help BigManTingz. Now Emil is too slow, does still have the thunder crash in order to retreat, but this is what Renegades have done all game. They have chased these kills. I don't see a reason they'd slow down now.
You know, I want to bring up what you said about Dardez as well, because I think the effective damage.
Yes, it has been really high.
That's what we've got to talk about here. You're absolutely correct in that the damage we ignore solo laners. Funball has been the guy. Multiple multi-kills in these fights. 5-0-10 in an 18-kill game. Fantastic stuff out of the Hunter.
Dardez aggressively dashing because he knows his crutches do that much damage over there to young man iceicebaby.
Oh,
the
Scotty
rest of
doesn't
Renegades.
know! Scotty doesn't know! Root! Crush!
Oh, too late, but he'll take it with the basic afterwards. He has the polyproc.
Oh,
he wanted the polyproc.
That is... Oh no, that hurts.
I mean, yeah, a little too early. I mean, maybe it was that the crush ran out of time also.
Oh, no. For Ice.
Oh,
I
sure,
mean,
sure.
you wasted the crush and I still die?
Well, yeah. He was definitely dead there. The rest of the team got Fire Giant way in the background there as well. And they'll be able to start pushing down this tier 2 tower and right. I suppose they'll leave Dardez to clear this middle wave as Benji 0-1-0 this game. All but a whisper, it's felt like, from this Jormungandr in the short lane.
Renegades just eating Eunited shaped macaroni and cheese right now. It's just really.
Is that because we had mac and cheese for lunch here? Is that where that's coming from?
Exactly. They're just all over Eunited, and it looks like there's nothing the enemy team can do.
Eunited starting to fold a bit as Renegades grab the Phoenix in right, the Phoenix in left has already been grabbed as well, and the mini wave pushed up by Dardez means they can rotate right to mid if they choose. 15,000 experience, 13,000 gold. I mean, this is the kind of lead we rarely see.
Yeah, this is kind of insane. We were talking about the Scylla choice here. You know, effective damage is something that I don't even think we could find a way to parse it because it's so subjective. But at the end of the day, I think you mentioned how these chase downs are happening. A lot of these players get away with 10% HP if Scylla doesn't crush the crush or nail the ultimate, right? And the punctuation that the Scylla is providing, while it's not the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, it's on the lower end of the damage overall. That 8,000 damage, that 9,000 damage that has come out of Dardez, all of it has been important, impactful, and put players in the ground. And I think that's really important. The Scylla is not supposed to do damage over time. Just end their life where Funball has taken them from 100 to 15, and you do the 15.
Yeah, I just don't know, man. If you're drafting Jing and Scylla, your games are not going to look like this that often.
This is an outlier.
Yeah, this has been a iRaffer kind of show here today, and some great early rotations from Nika set this all up. Obviously, Cherryo, a monster on the Naja as well. He went Shield of Regrowth and Wingblade as if Naja's not fast enough already. He's going to be zooming. And now they can threaten the left side Phoenix. I don't even know if Eunited can step up in time to defend. I got my answer. It's no. That Phoenix is done.
I don't love the Cherryo build. I think you could probably be doing a little bit more, but United just expended the Raijin ultimate, and that could be trouble.
It looks like emilitoo's been caught. I don't even know if the Thunder Crash is available to him. It's just too much of a CC chain. Surrender vote being started at this point as if to sort of signal that United's frustrations are starting to mount. Renegades move over to the mid-Phoenix, and United down a man. Have to find a way to try and keep this game alive.
Oh man, I don't know where they look towards it. Kalas has no ultimate. It's going to be about Benji trying to zone players alongside Ice, and Ice takes to the sky. Target should be backline, but it's Nika.
Lands on Nika instead and doesn't find much there. They try and take down Benji, but he avoids most of the damage. I'm a monster, though, cuts right through. And that puts Benji in the kill threshold for Cherryo. Now it's just BigManTingz and iceicebaby, the three-man grouping in mid to try and hold on to this game. But the Titan now starting to buckle. Well below half, well below a quarter, and Renegades grab game number 1 in dominant fashion.
Easy for them. 25 minutes of play, 21 kills in the kill column. I mean, what do you do if you're United? That's my job to tell you. Honestly, end the game and try again. The surrender vote came out. I thought the Raijin ultimate was a surrender vote.
Sure.
I didn't really see anything there. There wasn't any follow-up. There wasn't any kind of conversation. It seemed very haphazard. That was a microcosm for the entirety of United's game. I was just not impressed.
Now, we asked ourselves which one of these teams are going to show up in form like we've gotten used to seeing. Well, at least in Game 1, the answer was Renegades. United now got to find a way to see if they can show up as well. Maybe still a little bit groggy, even for the second game of the day. They'll have a chance to try and bounce back in Game 2.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the SMITE Pro League.
There were question marks coming in on which of these teams that struggled last week was going to show up and look better today. And through one game, only one team has showed up. It felt like it's Renegades. They're in Game 1. Aggro joined by Zeros here on the desk. I mean, Zeros, that one was pretty one-sided from minute one. iRaffer was able to build third item, Spear of Desolation, and get away with that.
That's when you know that you're in a pretty good spot.
That is crazy. I thought he was going Spear of the Magus, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of smart. You won them, or you get 2 procs, then you ult, there'll be max stacks for the Vibe Monster.
Yeah.
Seems good to me. No. Just decides he wants Deso, and it doesn't matter, truthfully. I mean, everywhere iRaffer went, there were kills in the early game.
They were just winning this fight so hard. It wasn't even close, honestly. A lot of times they tried to commit on iRaffer, but like, he was like never really in danger of dying, it felt like, so I don't know.
And then the spam taunt for emilitoo. Emilitoo on the Raijin ADC, a bit ineffective, I'd say. I mean, was behind early to Funballer on this Jing Wei, who played really, really well. He had a couple great ultimates in this game. Emil has the dive underneath the tier 2 tower where they get kills, but end up losing that trade because iceicebaby gets baited. I don't know. This was just a weird game for United.
I feel like that was the game. That's what where they started swinging, because like emilitoo was doing fine. I think he was even like slightly ahead of him. That's sick out. Yeah. I think he was even slightly ahead of Funballer, but then he rotates to mid, and like I guess he just really wanted to get something. Then he dashes into the mid tower. He gets a kill, but he dies. Kind of baits iceicebaby to win and die as well. So like they trade 2 for 1. And meanwhile, Funballer is just freeform. He comes back, and Funballer has like 1 or 2 levels on him. So just kind of weird.
And normally, I mean, you've got Scylla up against Hou Yi, and this was a bit of a funny moment where Iceice got kind of worked here by Dardez, unfortunately for him. Look, you've got it's so toxic to pop the crush early there in the Aegis as well, for what it's worth. You've got Hou Yi versus Scylla. You'd expect to have pressure in that mid 3v3 if you're Eunited, and you just never got it. I mean, Kalas fell so behind early that it made it pretty much impossible for United to fight there in mid.
Yeah. Super weird as well. We see like they had 5 health chalices, and Scylla started health chalice level 1, which to me doesn't really make sense. I don't really know what's going on in the meta right now, but maybe that's why they got pressure, because they could like just heal up all the poke they took. I don't know, man.
I guess. I mean, Cherryo, you watch his streams, he always buys health chalice. He loves this item. He says it's really good. And Cherry kind of thought of as a leader for this team, especially on how they want to play the game and the way they build. Probably has just been preaching health chalice and said, hey, what if we all just get a bunch of them? As Eunited look like they are thinking it over, but don't look like they've got a lot of talking mouths right now. I mean, this is a team that looks a bit lost.
Yeah, they look kind of rough, and I'm pretty sure there was like a surrender vote thrown out that game as well. So like obviously probably a little bit of tilt going in, but I hope they can turn it around and play better next game so we can get a good set.
I mean, Eunited has that potential, man. We've seen them even turn it around mid-set before, so it's certainly not over for Eunited, but not a great start. We'll see if they can turn it around in picks and bans, because that's all where it starts. Here as we get ready for game number 2. It was Ama first pick last game for Renegades. Do you think that was a huge factor? Are you really scared of giving that over to Nika again?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was. I think everyone on Renegades was like kind of carrying in their own way, so like I don't think it was only Amy, but then again, Amy top pick, just so strong right now. Nika looks super comfortable on it as well. So. And
it looks like the picks and bans are the same so far. United could decide to ban something different there, and they will. So it's Naja banned away by United, trying to remove that pressure in the 3v3 mid. Still leaves open Amaterasu, and Renegade's going to stick with it.
Yeah, was Oloron banned last game? I don't remember.
In the second phase,
okay, in the second phase.
So you could go it here in the top 3 for either side, most likely, and be able to get it. And with Geb, I mean, Amy is a pretty good diver of Oloron in that ultimate, but Geb covers up that weakness. I wouldn't mind it pretty early here for United.
Yeah, for sure, because like I'm pretty sure Dignitas played a lot of Oloron against Renegades last week, and Renegades did nothing to like try to counterpick it, if I remember correctly. So yeah, would definitely be a good pick for United.
Haven't gone for it yet, and the Morrigan makes me think they won't, because that is likely the pick over there for emilitoo and an instant Hou-Yi selection. And I think this is going to be for Funballers. We can counter this Morrigan. I mean, the mark gets you in stealth or not.
Yeah.
It makes it really easy for Funballer to track you. And this is a matchup where he can get solo kills pretty easily, it feels like.
Sure, I still think if it's a good Morrigan player, Morrigan still wins that one-on-one matchup. Like, sure, you can get marked, but you can also stay out of range for that. Like, you can clear the wave, you get marked, you use reset, you use wait until the mark goes away, and then you can look for your stealth initiation after. So, like, I still think this is a winning matchup for Morrigan, especially when you have the Serqet transformation.
And that's a great one. Gab is not a bad transformation either if you need to get out of danger. Amy, pretty solid for sure. Khepri not banned in that first phase and now gets taken away. Khepri's win rate is over 70% at the SPL
is it really?
level. It really is.
That is crazy.
And he's in every game for what it's worth. I mean, picked or banned pretty much, so you know this god is pretty potent. I'm surprised that Renegades picked the Athena over the Khepri there.
Yeah. The win rate for Khepri being so high, though, surely that must be because, like, iRaffer plays it a lot, right?
Yep.
And
iRaffer, Trix Tank, like, the top end plays it a lot.
And PBM as well.
PBM?
Like, PBM with the Blink Khepri done so much work. Like, I feel like the top support players, it kind of makes sense that he has a high win rate, but yeah, super solid pick.
Neith, another good target for this Morrigan. If you want to double Neith ult that solo lane, it's pretty hard for that solo laner to live through that amount of damage. But that still seems like it's mid-pressure oriented for Eunited. They're 3v3, Serqet, Geb, Neith. Going to be pretty hard to stop. As Renegades looking at a potential Ganesh pick, and Ganesh seems like a pretty good pick to me here. I mean, it's going to be the Xing again, though. iRaffer decides to go back to it, and with how well he played last game, I can't really blame him. I'm looking for a big follow-up mage here for Renegades, just because you have so much guaranteed CC in Ama, Athena, and Xing.
Yeah. If it's the Hera pick, I'm really really nice to see Dardez being on the back on the mage, because he's been a premier hunter player for so long now.
Yep.
And like going back to the mage, you never know though. It still could be Hera dual lane and Hou-Yi mid, but I would assume it's Dardez on the Hera.
I actually love what Renegades do. That Vamana ban signals to Eunited they might be thinking Oloron, and so that makes them ban Oloron. And I don't think Renegades had a whole lot of intention picking that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit with this comp super well. I think that's really smart by the guides of Renegades. So now you're looking for what Benji wants in that solo lane. King Arthur ban could go back to the Yorm, but has a pretty tough matchup against this much CC. It's tough to play Yorm when there's this many Guardian CCs in the game.
Yeah, like, then again, like, what wins against Amaterasu? Because say you want to pick, as we were talking about, a strong mid-game warrior. What wins against Amaterasu? Osiris, does he win against Amaterasu? I don't know, man.
I don't know. We'll find out, but it doesn't seem like a great matchup to me on paper. Benji can make it work, though, and I think that's the big thing here for Eunited. A couple good transformation targets in this game, but you've got great chase damage here. I imagine Argus gives Morrigan a lot of problems because of the ranged knockup and the ability to use that Divine Shroud and pulse out that damage. I think Renegades got away with a really, really strong draft here.
Mentioned this last week as well. Athena Hera. Polymorph doesn't share DR with taunts.
Right.
That's a CC chain.
And you are, and then the knockup, which again doesn't share DR with any of that. So
exactly.
You really will be locked down for a long period of time. Dardez played well on the Scylla there in game 1. I don't know if Xing Chen's gonna build Deso this game. That's my big thing, but he might. It's Raffer.
If they get up to a good early game again, I'm pretty sure it will.
It's Raffer, man. You never know. The wild card over there in the support role for sure. Eunited looking to bounce back. I mean, for me, this game is on emilitoo's shoulders, right? You picked the Morrigan to carry the game.
Yeah, sure. And like, I really hope he steps up because like we saw him in Morrigan last week. It was not great. Super weird build as well. I think Chronos Pendant first item or something.
Yeah, it was
really don't
odd.
like that. I hope he has like looked at the other Morrigan plays and has a good build here and does better.
Maybe one do-more, please, ordered for emilitoo in the Morrigan build. Eunited looking to bounce back here in game 2.
They certainly are, but they're going to do a lot of bouncing. Game 1 was pretty rough from them, to say the least. Renegades look like they've returned to form, and just about everyone has struggled against them, so it's not an easy task that stands across from Eunited.
Like I said, I think that there is something to be said about the court of public opinion, and Renegades are #1 in a lot of people's conversations, but not on the charts. And when you have yourself as #1 on the standings, you can go, we're not playing our best, but look, there it is. When you are just the kind of flavor of the week, the conversational #1, you don't have that to lean back on. So you've got to take these games as they come. You've got to be aggressive with them, and you got to say, all right, yeah, just we had a speed bump. We're human, but look, this is what we play like, and I think it's really effective.
I mean, Polar Mike spoke to the validity of that in the interview that we aired with him. He was saying how much it helps that he and Handicap have had so much success in Season 4 winning, in Season 5 being the best North American team, in Season 6 locking in as the first place team throughout the entirety of it. When they have a slump or something like that, he's like, I mean, come on, we're pretty sick. We keep proving it. As Cherryo now tries to come over to defend the purple buff that Collis and emilitoo aggressed on.
And does. The jungle Athena, not enough to go ahead and get the kill, but able to dissuade the opposition from looking for the big guy, and able to confirm their own red buffs. So Renegades successfully on their own side of the map so far, what you would expect out of the jungle Athena. And I like the jungle Athena look a little bit better for Cherryo here. If you're going to play the Naja, you have the option to be tanky. Last game you probably didn't need to play that lead, as I said. So here, the Athena will probably just it'll probably just be more congruent with what he's trying to do.
Does Eunited need to get that purple buff invade, though? I mean, they had Collis start in lane, and he hit level 2 before emilitoo did, so that's some farm that Funballer was not splitting there. I mean, do they have to get the invade to make that worth?
No, I don't think they have to get the invade, but they have to at least look for the timers. That's what Eunited are looking for, to set the pace again. Game #1, that was absolutely their plan. It went awry. Game #2 with Ice on the Serqet, Collis on the Geb again. A little bit different, but still, I think Eunited want to be the aggressors. Just taking a quick look at what Renegades has to offer and what Eunited have to offer, I think the mid game is again better for the red, white, and blue on paper. But if Raffer does this nonsense from the beginning, it won't go that way.
Dive bomb from Funballer to cut the distance. emilitoo now in stealth, and that's enough to just slip him just barely through and make his way back out of there, as now the other support has joined the lane and at least gotten beads. But even without the kill there, because those beads are down for Emil, Funballer has some solo potential on a Ho Yi if he can find a stun.
Speed buff invade here from Eunited, and the purple buff invade probably didn't have to go their way, but that one did. Did that Dardez get it?
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I did say. The purple buff could go either way, but that speed buff invade has to go United's way because they invested so much into it, and Dardez just turns around and goes, no.
Funballer with that mark of the crow on top of emilitoo would be able to see him even while stealthed, so it's not a bad matchup for this Ho Yi at all into this Morrigan, especially because there is a bit of a slow when she transforms too, as in like a bit of a delay before she can act again, so she might take an extra hit from the suns if she transforms inside of that. Not a bad one here for the Ho Yi at all.
Certainly what you're looking for against the stealthers, whether it's the Morrigan or Loki, the Mark of the Iron Crow, certainly works. Nika versus Benji, though, is another interesting matchup. Benji, this time around, should be a little bit more noticeable because, frankly, I didn't notice him all that often on the Jormungandr last time around. Too often he was getting killed under duress from just big burst damage out of the Scylla. Now this time around on the Osiris, he might be able to get into a rhythm in lane and bring that rhythm into the rest of the team fights later on. I didn't really see a rhythm, and Benji is absolutely a player that plays on sort of the ups and downs of the game, the ebb and flow.
Pace of this early game is relatively slow kill-wise. There have been multiple invade attempts from Eunited. But to be fair, game one kind of started similarly, and then the kills really started coming through when Eunited started overstepping into the jungle a little bit, and Renegades started pursuing these waterfall team fights where they were willing to run down kills even beyond tier 2 towers at a certain point as well. So even though the pace of this game is starting off a little bit mild, know that it could suddenly explode at any point.
Yeah, I think we'll see some Diablo sauce come out soon, and that's it. Cherryo with the first blood, habanero.
And that's the combination they talked about so much on the desk. The Athena taunt into this Hera combo with the ultimate for the knockup, the polymorph, none of that DRs. So you're really stuck in it once they catch you with the taunt.
Yeah, the ranged initiation is really what I always bring up with respect to Hera. It's not really what makes her just a great pick. Hera does have her dangerous side when she's laning, but when you get other teammates with her, I think she's just positive.
And another thing we talked about last game was the supports and going Blink into all this CC. Well, this time the junglers are joining them. Cherryo and iceicebaby both avoiding the early beads to pick up these blinks so they can be playmakers. That's what Cherryo just did, but it has the two-side effect of meaning iceicebaby's another really easy target for them as well. Once he's inside the CC chain, unless Geb is there with a shield or something like that, he ain't getting out.
I like the blink much better on Cherryo than I do on Ice, and at the end of the day, you know, it's just a matter of do you get blink first or second, because you are going to want blink Serqet. And let me rephrase, I like the blink on iceicebaby. I might have preferred the beads level 1.
Cherryo in some trouble. That was the World Weaver committed, but Ice just barely doesn't have enough damage. Cherryo really hasn't done much to make himself particularly tanky, so that just wasn't quite enough damage at this point from Eunited.
And so going on to the beads conversation one more time, with Ice not having beads, I'm iRaffer with a giant target on that path player.
emilitoo is in some trouble. Cherryo will taunt him back in. They only need one more shot to finish it off, and there it is. Funballer gets it. BigManTingz is rotating over to try and help, but Funballer continuing to run should be okay, especially because the Spirit Arrow was already used. Funballer even turning around to grab purple despite how close Tingz is.
Because Raffer showed up, a big hit of a stun. Ice is going to be able to catch up.
What a taunt.
That's going to save everything. Cherryo with a great play.
But Funballer has to keep running. iceicebaby could potentially close the gap. What a big play from Renegades to not only get that diving kill onto emilitoo underneath the tower, grab his beads, but to get Funballer back out of there alive as well is huge. This is Renegades, man. When they start turning on the gas, you gotta get out of the way.
It really, there is no other option. And Cherryo here on the Athena is able to set the pace of the game the way that we asked Eunited's Thor to do last time. He can blink over, or excuse me, ultimate over to really anyone that needs it and change 1v1s into larger opportunities.
Certainly what we saw happen there to emilitoo, who was not able to keep himself safe there on that left-hand side at all. That ends up being tower damage as well in favor of the Renegades. Obviously a bit of a lead now for Funballer. We already mentioned how that matchup might favor him, but if you add in a Defender of Olympus to catch Emil off guard, things get even worse. He's going to need some backup over here.
The backup will come all the time, and that's Renegade's kind of claim to fame, is that Raffer is always within kind of the buddy system limit. He can always kind of grab somebody by the hand, and bringing the global initiation from Cherryo is just icing on the cake. What I want to see them do, though, is make the plays like they did last time around and make them local. You don't really have to go into the enemy jungle for this play, for this style of approach. You just have to stay aggressive into your own game plan. Look for the fights in lane, look for the fights in the middle lane, and then you'll be able to find success.
No beads for Funballer. Collis has Blink, so he could initiate. But Raffer's here as well. They drop the Suns. It'll stun as well. Does get the Gep Shield to help him out, but it's not enough. Cataclysm a little bit too late, and Funballer finds one more kill. And Collis all alone. Even Cherryo coming over to try and be a part of this party. They don't even need him. A double kill for the Hou-Yi.
A little bit of a focus there on emilitoo. Funball smiling.
As they should, I think.
Emil, not so much. And yes, I agree. I think there is absolutely we can pick it up and run with it and be like, oh, ex-teammate, ha ha ha, but you want to keep this Morrigan out of the fight for sure. The 8.5-minute Gold Fury uncontested Woof. I do not want to play against Renegades.
Not right now when they're back on form. They had a bit of a drop that 1 week, but I don't think that's enough to move them down in the power ranking, so to speak. That's that word of mouth ranking Tom was talking about. Defender of Olympus, though, necessary from Cherryo to try and help keep, not just keep him alive, but it's for a turnaround kill.
That's exactly what I mean. That looks like a 1v1, and it's anything but. It's a 4v1 if you count the rotation from iRaffer.
Renegades are just out-rotating Eunited right now. They're stretching the map so thin, and Eunited can't quite keep up with it. Collis has to come over to the left-hand side to try and keep emilitoo alive, not just in the 1v1, but in potential ganks from Cherryo. Once they pull people there, they swing right back towards right, using the ulti from Cherryo to help Nika find a kill into Benji and another one in that lane. They have been making this early game work for them.
Kind of against all odds. Hera, also not an early game character. That's pretty much the downside to her and why we haven't seen much of her in this latter part of the season. She has issues in the early game, just like Scylla, but I think that Renegades have identified that we're not seeing this early game scrum in the middle game, in the middle lane, like we have all season. Players have avoided the 3v3 and instead opted for more of this disjointed fight in the jungle, fight in the side lanes, and that allows these later game mages to make some noise.
And Dardez, and he's not the only one that's doing this, but he's left the Doom Orb at the Cursed Orb, that tier 2 level, and then started building into Pen right away. And I do think if you're trying to be active, particularly in trying to kill a Geb or some of these tanks early, I kind of like this build path from him, and he has been able to occasionally rotate and be involved in some of these fights. 1,500
gold for 55 power and some additional stats is, I like that. It is pretty much just beneath what I would consider effective use of your gold, worth it, quote unquote, but the fact that it turns into the Doom Orb for 145 power is really the nice look. It's a bridge item, the way we used to see old Ikoval or old Awesome.
Cherryo, aggressive in the jungle, finds iceicebaby. iceicebaby doesn't have beads to burn, so he'll just have to settle for some damage. Meanwhile, Collis in trouble yet again, uses Cataclysm for the CC immunity, and it actually gets him out of there. And now Cherryo left isolating the left-hand side, taunts emilitoo back in, who turns into Funballer's Ho Yi, and in comes the Deathbane as well from the Serqet, but Cherryo still able to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and weave, and make his way out of there. Dardez finds number 7. It's lucky enough for Renegades.
Great shot. Great play there from iRaffer and Cherryo. iRaffer goes to save Cherryo's life, and Cherryo takes part in saving his own life. iRaffer does fall down thanks to a long-range shot, but that was exactly how Renegades and no other team would draw it up. Somebody gets in a bunch of trouble, it looks dismal, and then their team is able to respond in spades and then turn things around. 8-1 right now, John Finch, at 11 minutes in.
And they've got these kills on some real priority targets too. iceicebaby 0-3, emilitoo 1-3. Serqet is meant to be sort of this other early game monster, probably one of the best early game gods on the map here right now that's been drafted, and they've relegated it to being behind the same level as iRaffer, and they've kept emilitoo out. And Funballer now in some trouble too, does use the dive bomb, but he doesn't have backup for a little while, and the World Weaver committed as well.
That's fine, though. There's just going to be one kill. What happens after the fact? And Funball doesn't even die. Have HP for Collis, and Renegade still aggressive.
Avoids the shot of emilitoo as well to keep Funballer alive. He comes back in and sets up for Dardez to find the kill. Funballer letting him hear it a little bit as he stands in place. One more for Renegades. They are in true form here today.
This is what you expect out of them. Not only just the prowess that they're doing, I know we built them up, but also the response. They're kind of being nasty about it.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. This is what happens at the end of the season. Only one team can lift that trophy. And Renegades want to be that team, and they want everybody to hear it.
This is a confident team. Cherryo's a confident man too, but he doesn't always physically outwardly show it. He can sometimes be a bit in his own head. But these 5 players together form this very confident unit, and right now they're playing in rhythm. They're having fun there together. They're letting you hear it a little bit too in game as well. And I think all of that is part of their aura that makes this Renegades team so strong. As Cherryo in a bit of trouble here in middle lane, but he's able to make it back. That's a good spirit arrow that locks him down for the roof.
The Neith play has been good, which, no surprise, BigManTingz spicy all day.
Nika, though, finds the return kill to punish him for it. Cherryo may take a spill as Lord of the Afterlife does not find purchase. Nika knocked up as iceicebaby patiently waits with that ambush. World Weaver hits 2, and Nika happily accepts.
You know, that's funny. when Nika starts stunting on you, that's a problem. Because Nika and Cherryo are the two kind of calming people on this unit. Funball and iRaffer have been aggressively confident. Arrogant is a word I would use. And I don't know. Dardez is the silent arrogant type, right? Just better than you, and he'll look at you after he outplays you, no problem. And then Nika goes 3-0 in lane and goes, hey GG's, nice set, right? After the fact, that's when Nika starts 360 taking a Neith ult. That's when you know you've woken the bear.
Yeah, you might be in a bit of a bad spot. Funballer shows presence in right lane, all the way over in short lane. It looks like some kind of lane swap has happened here, and I think that might have potentially baited Renegades into thinking that Fury wasn't going to go down without the Hunter, or Eunited rather, and the rest of Renegades go over and grab that one virtually uncontested. Though down this much golden experience, Eunited might have passed on it anyway.
I take a second to think about that because it is a large gold lead here. But at the same time, I think Eunited, I'm never one to advocate sitting on your hands. You've got to make plays, otherwise the gold spools up, right? I mean, it just goes away. So I think that's a play that I would have liked them to see defend. But I think you were correct in your assertion that Eunited assumed that there would not be a gold without the Hou Yi.
That's certainly a reasonable assumption to try and make, but United get punished on it that time. Things have slowed right back down, but that's just because what's next for Renegades to go get? It feels like they've taken everything. The tier 1 and left has already fallen. There's a Pyro, a couple of low tier 1 towers that can go force down, but they're waiting on their next spikes before they make their big move.
Benji might be the target. Funball jumps in, he gets the knock-up stun. Nika will take the tower.
This is brave here from Renegades to try and kill an Osiris, but I don't even know that they need to. They force Benji back, grab the tier 1. A nice, easy rotation for the two side laners.
One more. Oh, I thought there was a rotation from United. They were going to head over to the right side. Instead, going to head over to the left. Cherryo is lonely. Pyro. That's a blue ward. Renegades have the control of the vision. Because of that, United probably aware of that Pyro to go down and not willing to dance with it. And that decision I like.
Is there some kind of like meme here within this set about the Spear of Desolation? Because it feels like everyone's picking it up this time. It's certainly a good item. You know, I'm not going to complain about having it, but wouldn't put it past these guys. We have a little bit of fun with it too. It's Spear of the Magus though for iRaffer this time. He tried Deso. That wasn't quite his look. Now it's Magus. He's moving throughout that pin tree.
So Spear of Deso, I had to do a decent amount of work to kind of justify it.
Okay.
Magus makes so much more sense to me. Magus is one that iRaffer will be able to strip mad prots by just using the Furious Howl, and it assists the teammates. He's got Dardez, he's got Cherryo, and those are the two players that are going to be able to make usage of the passive from Spear of the Magus. This makes more sense in a facilitation sort of sense. Spear of Deso, I mean, you want to hit people hard.
He certainly did that in the last game. He is not the only person, though, that's enjoying a nice, comfy lead. Everyone about 2 or 3 levels ahead over their direct opposition, particularly Funballer, 4 levels out in front of emilitoo. I mean, and it wouldn't feel right to signal one person out in United when they've all struggled mightily here in this set so far. It's just a team issue where they're not quite clicking right now. And you know what? You don't necessarily have to be clicking week 12 of the SPL when you've already qualified, as long as they turn it back on and land.
Which is tough.
It is tough, I agree. It would certainly help you turn on and land if you've been popping the whole time.
emilitoo trying to solo Cherryo down here with the transformation to the Xing Shen. Cherryo losing the fight until Nika shows up, and, well, that's history.
Funballer, though, a valuable bounty for iceicebaby to find. They give him his first death of the game. Down by his tier 2, so obviously he was too far forward. You know, he had to die for that one. Kalas in trouble now as he meets up with Dardez as well as iRaffer. He ends up having to use the Cataclysm defensively, but it's not enough to keep him alive unless it is. Gets a Gem Shield out of there, retreats, but does eventually fall to iRaffer.
Now the follow-up here as you hear the taunt coming out from Athena. Benji's going to go down.
Benji falls to Dardez. iceicebaby and BigManTingz realized they weren't going to be able to cut through all of those defenses, so they left early. But iceicebaby can't run fast enough. Nika hunts him down with all that extra movement speed from the Amaterasu. And now Cherryo is hunting BigManTingz in mid.
BigManTingz going to be able to get out of there. Love the build from Cherryo this time around. Again, he's on a Guardian, so he doesn't. So building tank is going to be a little bit more in step with the design philosophy. You've got binding here. Every taunt is going to enable his teammates to be a little bit more powerful there. And then, sure, you got the Heart of the Urchin. If you're going to get a kill a minute, yes, this is a great choice.
It's very more in the win more philosophy. And
Yes.
that's what Renegades have kind of been building towards. It's why I liked the Spear of Desolations last time. That's pretty win more. So is the Hide of the Urchin as well. If they've kind of sensed that blood in the water, that they're going to keep being active and aggressive, then these build items they've gone with so far make a ton of sense.
So, I mean, that, again, I referenced it before. That's what I mean. You say win more. That's why I said play your lead. 21 kills, 24 minutes, the game is over. If Renegades don't play over-aggressive because they made moves in game number 1 that would be considered over-aggressive in an even game, building Spear Deso, if you don't make these moves, if you're not aware of your lead, that becomes a 35-minute game. You give Eunited 2 to 3 more opportunities to get back into it, finish it off, choke it out, kill him down.
emilitoo tries to make a play around this World Weaver from BigManTingz. That is his changeling now on cooldown. Uses the Whirlwind to Rage and Steal, because you might as well, because at the end of that ultimate extends the duration of the Xing, but doesn't end up mattering. Nika gets there right at the end, and emilitoo falls for the 6th time.
1-6-0. Ice Ice can stop this gold fury. There's the blink in from Kalis, and it will be the steal for Eunited.
Well timed by Eunited, calls for the perfect cataclysm. Nika, though, makes it pay. Unstoppable with 7 in a row. Meanwhile, iRaffer has 2 members he's keeping busy on the right-hand side. In comes the teleport from Nika, and suddenly everybody starts to run. But this is the side of the map Renegades want to be on. Without a Fury up, they can just party at the FG.
Nice blink for blink. Benji able to get out for now, and here comes everybody else. Benji smiles as he gets put in a casket.
Yeah, recognizing not much he could have done to change that one. Fire Giant being looked at. iceicebaby, the only person nearby to try and affect the outcome of this one. But look how quickly they're burning it. Even the Suns are here. iceicebaby taunted, never even gets a chance to try and affect that one. Fire Giant for Renegades.
Just easy. I was trying to find a different word, but I'm just going to repeat it because simplicity is key here. Renegades have not done anything overwhelmingly creative. Nice juke out from the Serqet player there, avoiding Cherryo. They haven't done anything overwhelmingly, astonishingly creative, right? They're not coming out of here with some oddball picks that have surprised the Eunited. They're playing honest SMITE. And in fact, with Cherryo on an Athena, they're playing SMITE that they've played for years.
Certainly not a surprise anymore when Cherryo picks the Athena. That World Weaver chunks Funball, though, and stops him from following up off the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. But Renegades still favored here in this fight. Cherryo moves in next, but gets controlled. That's not bad for me, Eunited. emilitoo transforms and brings it back into the Phoenix range, and Eunited suddenly with a pulse. 22 minutes into the match. Slow down the push.
Fantastic, fantastic recovery from Eunited. 4 members of Renegades do still have the option of the Fire Giant, and Ice Ice will grab a tier 2 tower. Renegades still have control of the game, that said, but Eunited got the stop they need, and we need to see, honestly, more of that.
And that's good usage of the World Weaver ultimate from Tingz during that fight. That stopped Funball from following up off the initial initiation from iRaffer off the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. He could have done way more work in that fight had it not been for that. And then the heads-up play from Emil turns to the Xing. He slows that whole push down and finds a kill.
Emil has gone into the Xing a number of times at this point. Largely, it's just a lot of control. You also have a number of options to get out, the double jump, right? I like the decision. I think probably the best choice majority of the time. I do want to see Emil start looking more towards Nika, though. I think that the Amaterasu can bring a lot of what Emil is needed in these moments.
Certainly wouldn't mind it either. And, you know, building the Spear of Magus maybe makes iRaffer a slightly less valuable target to transform into. See, maybe there's some edge games there. Renegades does have their Phoenix push relatively slowed down during the Fire Giant. They got another minute 40, though, to work with it, and some tier 2 towers that certainly look appetizing for them as they can go grab the weakened one in left, the mid one still fully healthy, the mini wave not too far back if they want to push.
Benji, still quiet this one. I had said maybe the change of character would allow him to get rhythm in lane, and Renegades have done a great job of making sure that the laning phase is as short as possible. 8 minutes, 32 seconds on the Gold Fury for this game, and that was by design. Renegades have been fighting early despite their picks, despite their draft. Renegades have chosen to fight early, and that keeps Eunited at a distance.
Funballer, the target of the World Weaver again. Benji blinks to follow up, but Funballer is able to reposition, only losing half HP.
Dardez now. Okay. Cherryo is stuck. That's why we see the ultimate.
Frenzy popped as well, so Renegade's ready to commit. Collis walks forward for a Cataclysm. Emilitoo yet again into the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. There's the Sunbreaker though on top of it. Cherryo might end up falling, but it's 1-for-1. Emilitoo for the jungle Athena. iceicebaby though comes in. That's a sick Cobra's
It's
kiss.
a big moment.
And a big ultimate as well from Benji right on top of it. Eunited not going to make it easy to siege the Phoenixes this time.
This has to be all Eunited now. They've got to get this chase down, and they've got to get it good. But Renegades are turning it around just like that.
Yeah, Dardez is way too healthy. He's going to be able to keep pumping in damage on this Hera, and that's what really put Eunited on the back foot. Nika dives to find BigManTingz. Left side Phoenix is going to crumble down as well. Eunited put up a good fight, but just too much of a deficit for them to overcome.
Chase, 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 chase. It's not over yet. Iceice needs to look in, get a taunt. IRaffer, though, able to keep Benji at a distance.
United considering re-aggressing.
Nice split.
Not quite sure about how to do it. Funballer loops around, comes back over with the dive bomb, and that should get Renegades out of there in pretty safe fashion.
That was United's best chance to survive. Best chance to get back into this game, I think, was chasing down Renegades down the left side lane. And unfortunately, as you pointed out wonderfully, Dardez, healthy as a horse. That should not be allowed. But it's all Dardez. Great positioning.
Renegades grab the Primal Fury despite Ice and Collis' posturing. Benji teleported in. They must actually want to try and make a play here on this left-hand side while Renegades are still reeling from that Phoenix push. Emilitoo has a chance to loop in as well. I don't know if the Renegades expect for this fight to be this all in, but Cherryo comes to the back line, taunts Emilitoo to keep him out. Funballer getting plenty of backup on the backside of the fight there too, but iRaffer ends up paying for trying to keep Emilitoo out of the action.
All of a sudden, it's a 5-on-4, United with the numbers advantage. Renegades able to retreat.
Regroup underneath that tier 2 tower. Now we finally have a moment to talk about how that Phoenix siege goes. I mean, Renegades have not had an easy way into the Phoenix here just yet, and United keep finding these moments to come back in and punish as Nika fights 2 here in the middle lane. Cherryo's looping in. This might be more of a skirmish than it looked like.
Yeah, Benji's here, and Iceice cancels the back. All of a sudden, it's 4-on-1. Benji avoids the stun, but here comes Argus.
Yeah, Dardez finds a 2-man knockup. Not a bad way to keep this fight chained together. Benji drops the tether. That should finally deter Renegades as Collis comes to the backside, but they taunt him in as well, and he takes about half his HP for the trouble.
Oh, 1 by 1, United marching in like a bunch of ants. I don't know how they plan on getting out, but they wiggle their way out of it. And if United are the ants, then Renegades are the great uncles. They just look one step ahead of United every time.
What? Fire Giant now being looked at by Renegades. You can't mix metaphors like that. Are they ants like the insects, or are they ants like relatives? Fire Giant, very
all
low.
relative.
Okay, you're too proud of yourself as Fire Giant goes down in favor of Renegades. Tom with a self-inflicted injury on the left-hand side. So don't worry, I'll keep casting a team fight. Renegades get the FG, no problemo, and back on out of there without too many issues. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Literally celebrated himself into an injury like a football player.
Yeah. I jumped up and down and like landed on a body part, and it just hurts. But United still trailing. Renegades do a great job of grabbing that Fire Giant. And this is, man, a lot of times I'll sit up here and you know, commentators will say, this is the game we watch for when it's neck and neck and fight and fight. I'll be honest with you, Finch. I love watching a good old-fashioned dunk. And this, Renegades, they have provided that. This is, I mean, I won't go so far to say it's embarrassing for United at the end of the season, but Renegades are bringing them to task. Oh my goodness, I am loving this show.
It's a pretty big deal, though, that iceicebaby survived just now. He's been kind of instrumental in these defenses they've made on the Phoenixes, using these Cobra's Kisses to lock down Funballer and cut off a lot of his damage and force him out early. But Renegades fully grouped up on the right side. Even without a minion wave, it can certainly threaten this Phoenix if everyone's not back. Now iceicebaby is indeed backing as Nika has to take the brunt of the damage himself.
Emma was trying to hide behind the rock, but nobody bought it. Funball leading the charge, probably not the positioning you want. Cherryo now taking the charge is a little bit better. iRaffer, that's ideal.
They're not going to have minions in this right wave for a while. They're not going to have minions anywhere for a while. Look how far all three lanes are pushed up. So they're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, and that helps cut into a lot of that experience deficit. Collis blinks in for the cataclysm, but Nika deletes emilitoo before the fight even starts. iceicebaby keeps up the tradition of looking for Funballer in the back, but Funball lives for now as iceicebaby continues to learn.
Yeah, that dot damage not going to be enough, and the HP 5 from the Fire Giant will tick up. Renegades looking for the assistance of the assassin. Won't find it.
Funballer going to target the World Weaver as well. That's intercepted by Nika.
Beautiful. Oh my god, I love that.
During the dive bomb, perfect as Renegades look to reaggress. Arcus the one taking Benji, hit by the taunt, but he shrugs off the damage, but not long enough. They commit all the ultimates, and Benji falls as well. Right side, Phoenix now melting to the ground, and Renegades considering just pushing for the end here in the 5v3. Dash in, taunt gets Tingz and Collis.
They absolutely should. This is the power play that you're looking for. You've got the numbers on your side. You're able to find the damage onto the Titan itself as well. 60% to go.
They have the Titan low, but Eunited still have 3 members here to try and defend, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. Nika finds Tingz, Titan comes down, not even 30 minutes, and Renegades get their second win of the set.
Offsides is the call. Renegades behind United's defender, and it just doesn't matter. Great stuff here out of Renegades again. This is just an old-fashioned stomp, and I'm here for every minute.
Renegades have looked like they've truly returned to form, and Eunited still look like they're not quite here. Now, it's improvement for Game 1. Their Phoenix defense was way better here in Game number 2, so they did look improved in that capacity, but just kind of holding on to defend the Phoenixes for a team that's auto-qualifying the Worlds is just not the bar, man. They've looked better than this before.
Really, what I want to break down, if we can get into the micro real quick, was this team is having fun, they're laughing, they're taunting, they're playing sporadic, but they are still locked in. I literally clapped during that last moment. The Neith ult comes through, Hou Yi goes for the dive bomb, understanding that his teammate's going to be able to block in. There's not a comms conversation, it's just understood. Renegades are locked in.
Well, looks like Eunited needs some time to recover. Maybe Tom still does too after that one. So we'll take a quick break and be right back for Game 3. The SMITE Pro League is brought to you by Titan Forge Games, the developers of SMITE.
Welcome back to the SPL, everybody. Renegades destroy Eunited. If you're an Eunited fan, it's getting a little bit spooky in here. And it can get spooky in your games at home with these skins now, Ymir and Apwash. Make sure you pick those up right in time for the holidays, Halloween, right around the corner. Aggro joined by Zeros here on the desk. And Zeros, we said coming in, one of these teams, I thought that stay was either going to be really, really short in this set or really, really long. These teams either show up and both be looking really good or one would not. And it looks like we found our answer so far. Another really, really rough game for Eunited.
Yeah, for sure. Did look a little bit better, held on for longer at least this game than the first one. I thought this game would be maybe even faster than the first one, but they had some good defenses on the Phoenixes, but
Yep.
at the end of the day, like, Renegades just playing so much better.
And I love this 3v3 core of the triple magical, 2 Guardian, 1 Mage, iRaffer building a little bit of damage in there. He had a Spear of the Magus, which was what I assume he wanted to buy in Game 1, or should have bought in Game 1, and ultimately did not. Cherryo had the Stone of Binding. I mean, it enabled Dardez to do so much damage.
Yeah.
And Funballer was able to have his way with emilitoo over here in the long lane.
Such disgusting CC chains they have in mid with Athena, Xing, Tian, and Hera as well. All of them have such good CCs and so easy to land as well. So, yeah, super strong 3-on-3.
Dardez just popped on this Hera, man. I mean, really showed why this god is starting to be valued a little bit more often these days than she was in the past. I think that this is such a god that brings you such a level of control. The damage from that Royal Assault is just really, really nuts. And Argus is really a whole other player in the late game.
Yeah, I think Hinderman was the one saying it's another plat player to
Yeah,
have on
like
your
a
team
plat
or whatever.
player on your team.
Yeah, that always listens to you as well, so...
Which is the best thing you can do as a plat player, by the way. Just listen. It's the only thing that matters. Look, Renegades looking clean once again. Wow, sorry about that one. That was scary. That was a sick play, by the way, by Nika to interrupt that and Funballer to jump over the Neith ult, but maybe not so sick as to blow out your eardrums. Apologies on that one, but Renegades just look like the better team so far today. When you're in Eunited's shoes and things are just not going your way as a player, what are the conversations like right now?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, they tried something completely different this game as well. They played a Raijin, the more standard backline mage. The first game didn't work. Play Morrigan now, more like an initiator assassin mage. Didn't work. So, not really sure what they're going to look for next game. Maybe emilitoo goes back to a classic hunter or something.
Could be. I think that taking Nika off this Ama is a big deal, man. I mean, he was, what, 7-0 at one point on that selection in that game and just continued to dominate the team fights. It just feels like United's doing some things well in the team fights, but they can never get those finishing blows. And Amaterasu is a big reason why. It changes those team fight dynamics really heavily.
Yeah, I think she was like 7 or 8-0-3 or something at some point. So obviously just too strong, that character. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say it, but you can beat her.
You can.
But I feel like you're always at a disadvantage unless you shut her down early. But you don't shut her down early anymore because she's strong early now too. So I feel like that god just has to go and pick a mess.
I agree with you. I mean, we've seen the experiment here for United. Can Benji deal with it? And it's not that Benji's been getting soloed or super hard out pressured. It's just that it's impossible for him to match the level of impact that Nika is going to have in the team fights. That's just built into the kit. I mean, that's just what the god brings. I think I'm trying to go first pick here if I'm a United first and foremost, because they have been in second pick these first 2 games, and we should be able to find out right now as they indeed are the first pick selection. And if I'm Benji, I'm going, please give me Ama this time around.
Yeah, I think it was last week they got Ama one game, but I think it was iceicebaby playing in that game in the jungle, and it wasn't great. So
the auto attack Ama build.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Weird is one word for it. That's nicer than the way I would have played it.
They banned it, okay.
So United decided to ban it themselves, which is interesting to me. Renegades continue to ban this Ratatosker. Really do not want to let iceicebaby get off to a hot start.
Persephone.
Yeah,
Don't ban it.
Oh, so close, man. Nearly got through all 6. This is the only reason why I thought going to 10 bans from 8 wasn't going to be a good change, because we don't get to see the cool new gods all the time.
Yeah, but overall, probably a pretty good change. I think
It's a
with
good
so
change.
many strong gods in the game, I feel like it probably had to happen at some point.
It's a good change. I agree. Set is locked in for United. They had the option of getting that King Arthur for Benji. They decide not to, and so Renegades immediately take it. Now, Set is a god that Benji has played. I imagine that is going to be going over to him, so he had the choice between the 2, and he chooses for the Set. King Arthur and Athena together. Great CC between these 2 alone.
Yeah, for sure. This matchup, though, if it is Set solo, I guess it won't be. That's weird. Okay. Jorm solo against King Arthur. I guess that's fine. Jorm is kind of does fine in that lane, use 3 farms. But then again, King Arthur, so much more impact in the mid game.
Yeah, this is weird to me, because if I'm on United, I think you just go Set and then pick things that aren't for jungle, because that's, imagine where the Set is going, or for solo. And Renegades are never banning Yorm from you, right? Because they think that Set's going solo lane. feels like a bit of a wasted pick. Maybe they want to see what Renegades have and prioritize other things later on, so they don't mind revealing their hand, but it still feels a bit early for them to pick the Jorm.
Yeah, sure. Like the Xing Tian pick too, to take it away from iRaffer. It's been doing so well on it, and so much setup, so much damage with the builds he's been going. He's been allowed to go damage in his build because they've been like winning so hard early mid game. But I really like the Eunited taking him away. Kalas also plays a really good Xing Tian, so.
Yeah, it's true. He was one of the ones that kind of brought it back into the league. I think emilitoo was one of the first to play it in the SPL this phase and made a huge splash with it for sure. Horus is the pick here for iRaffer, had the option to go to the Gev if he so chose, but we've seen that matchup the last 2 games, and it was pretty heavily in Xing Tian's favor, though I imagine that's a little bit less God-dependent than the way that the games were playing out.
Yeah, for sure. And we get the Athena jungle again, which did really well last game. Still have a lot of CC between the Athena and Horus, right?
Yep, tons.
Yeah, now they do their CC kind of DRs a bit with the taunt and the Horus stun shares DR, so not as good of a CC chain as they had last game. And I would expect Eunited to ban Hera too, to not give them like this insane CC combo in mid.
100%. Still have the knockup for Horus, so it's not terrible on that CC chain. Yeah, I agree. I think that the Hera is an obvious ban here. But you kind of want to ban on her as well. With this much setup, I'm looking at on her as a potential pick. It's good against the Xing Tian because you always have your ult up, and they don't ban Hera. Instead, they decide to ban the Poseidon. A little bit worried about those cripples off this setup, but I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that either Hera or on her are better picks than Poseidon in this draft.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be interesting to see the honor for Renegades here as well, because obviously Dardez has been playing mages the previous 2 games, and maybe pulls back the Hunter mid now as he played so much previously, and see if that still works. If it does really well on an honor mid here, for example, Renegade's gonna look really scary, right? Because then you know Dardez can perform really well on mages as well as on Hunters.
Exactly. You just keep your options open and make yourselves very difficult to pick and ban against. I don't think anyone is doubting that Dardez has the on her ready. He's the one who really popularized the character in the first place. Soul the pickup, an interesting one here that could flex, though this is a character that Funballer has loved during his career. Pretty safe. Is that why we see it here? I mean, the backline dive is okay from Eunited. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good for sure. I really like Soul still. She's such a safe backliner. Brings a lot of objective damage. I think having high objective damage for your carries is really important, because like, I mentioned it a lot of times, but like you say you get 1 pick, you win a team fight, you get 1 pick, you reset. If you have a lot of objective damage, it's so easy to go back and just do an objective fast, you know. So Sol is really good, I think.
Apwash, a pick for here, BigManTingz. It's great with Xing Tian. Toss all these frontliners straight into your Apwash ult. Very, very difficult to play against. And it looks like it's going to be set ADC here for emilitoo. Could be Mercury ADC, but that feels a little bit less likely to me. We saw Cyclone play the set in the long lane 2 games in a row. Snoopy has popularized it quite a bit for LG. But ML, I mean, hasn't looked great these last 2 weeks. Giving him the first pick set is United putting a lot of trust in him for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how it works out. I'm intrigued to see what he can do with the set ADC. I would not have expected that coming out of this draft.
Dardez doesn't look pleased.
I worry a bit about this Apuk though, because like usually when you have Apuk on your team, you want a lot of peel.
You're right.
Like the only peel they kind of have is Xing Tian here, I feel like. Mercury can peel a little bit, but like he kind of want to dive, right? So I feel like they will be able to dive this Apuk pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, I don't know who's taking King Arthur off of him. You know,
exactly.
That is the big thing. I mean, he can kind of heal himself up, keep himself alive for a little bit, juke around, but Nika's going to have a field day against his composition.
Yeah, I mean, imagine King Arthur blinks on you, goes on you, Athena outs on top of that. Gonna be a jungle Athena too, so probably gonna have a bit more damage in their build. Like, when does he Aegis, you know? Because if he doesn't Aegis the Athena out, he gets 1 shot.
Right.
If he doesn't Aegis the King Arthur damage, he gets 1 shot. So I think this Apuk's gonna struggle, but we'll see.
Bless up for BigManTingz in this game, man, especially with the way these 3v3s have gone in Renegade's favor. Another Kukulkan pick, by the way, Zeros. It's catching on. The fever the sickness has spread here among the casting team. We're all coughing up a storm. The Kukulkan sickness has spread among SPL mid laners. Renegades looking to close a sweep up against the United.
Let's see if that Kukulkan works, but that's only the second most interesting mage here in this game. The Apwash for BigManTingz is in some trouble, I agree, but obviously it makes some sense, right? There is a bunch of healing on the side of Renegade, so you don't want him, but it's just a question of can he survive long enough? Can he live to do all the damage he'd like to?
Jay-Z once asked that question. BigManTingz will ask the same. Can I live? That said, the Apwash here, like you said, a little bit of healing. recently changed to make that even more so his identity. You get some anti-healing, not just on the ultimate now, but on the Undead Surge. And that's a big deal, because that means it's more reliable and more consistent. Obviously, the third ability is going to punish you for healing, but does not have any innate built-in anti-heal. And so all you had prior to the change was just, I could drop the ult for anti. Now, you can send these corpses out on a relatively low cooldown and really utilize that against emilitoo, against BigManTingz, or excuse me, against what Nika wants to do most notably, and that's a really big deal.
emilitoo knocked up and stuck inside the damage from Funballer. iRaffer here to try and get Funball some advantage here in this lane up against this set. emilitoo's played 3 different gods now in 3 different games, so hopefully he's raring to go for this set, because it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to make this pick work in lane. He wanted to come contest, but he's got to deal with the wave. This should be a purple buff invade for Renegades.
Yeah, he's played a bunch of different characters, but the results have been relatively the same. He's just gotten beat, honestly. Renegades have really brought him to task, and Cherryo getting the last hit there for Collis. No problem. But the set is a 1v1 master, and
right.
When it's not 1v2, maybe he'll look a little bit better.
And that's why iRaffer's here, right? Trying to get Funballer off to a good start to minimize that window emilitoo can use to try and punish this soul. Because once Renegades do start to group up, it'll look a lot like it's looked in these other 2 games. There's so much CC to worry about, and then plenty of really strong follow-up there as well. They're not sticking with that 3 magical damage core in the mid lane, jungle, and support. But I mean, yeah, Horus will be just fine in the same regard.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. I think that's a big deal. We'll see how this one... This is the first time we've really seen this legitimate 3v3 in this set. We've seen teams kind of walk away from it because of a couple of different reasons, but this grouping up here is unique for this set, and it's because BigManTingz is playing the op wash, and he doesn't have access to a lot of the resources that a lot of folks do usually.
He's got those cooldown boots already. Dardez's start is just the tier 2 boots. And you heard them talking to the desk about these health chalices. They've been buying a bunch of these throughout this set here so far. It's probably why you can't afford to have that same lost artifact start as BigManTingz. But still going to work out for him anyway. They finish the Shoes of Focus right around a similar time.
I like the idea of the health chalice because of how Renegades have been playing the set thus far. They've been very aggressive. They've been taking their fights and extending them into plus and then some, and that's really, the health chalice will help you take up that little extra HP 5, will allow you to kind of look for that secondary initiation, that secondary team fight, and that's a really big deal looking at how Renegades have gotten their wins 1 and 2.
Yeah, it didn't take long for emilitoo to turn that long lane back in his favor as Collis being chased in mid. Even takes a little bit of a shot there from Dardez. He's jumping in. Eunited want this fight, especially with iceicebaby on the way, but the tornado deters it all, and in the end, Eunited have to give it up.
Nika here on the King Arthur versus Benji on the Jormungandr. This is an old an old new matchup, right, if you will, but it's one that we've seen many, many times. Goes in King Arthur's favor, but it will be tough.
That's right. In the early game, the Jormungandr gets to benefit from not being grabbed by the ult, gets to build magical damage to try and punish the Glad Shield that King Arthur has to go into to start things off. Just a decent matchup all around for the Jormungandr, though Arthur likely will still have some pressure over there, as you alluded to.
It looks classic, too. I'm cutting you off for just to say a bunch of nonsense. It just looks classic.
A dragon,
yeah,
I guess,
exactly.
or a serpent?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm there for that, yeah.
Just a little flavor in our X's and O's.
Sure, I like flavor. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. As iceicebaby looking to pull off a bit of an invade here up against Cherryo, and I think this might be a decent call with this Athena here in the jungle for iceicebaby rather, to maybe not give Cherryo a free pass throughout this early clear.
Exactly. Athena will be able to clear very cleanly in a moment, but, well, with those boots, she's pretty much good. But the early game is where you want to look for the punish on those mage jungles. That's been the story forever.
It's been the story here of the set, is that the early games have been a little bit slow, and then Renegades, it feels like, kind of flip a switch, and suddenly they're ready to go. Obviously, it's not an actual switch. It's power spikes coming in, hitting level 5, gathering information off the map, and playing well around it. But it certainly can look like a switch being flipped sometimes from this view.
I mean, again, it's reminiscent of Season 3.
Never mind.
it's reminiscent of the of seasons past where iRaffer was able to win with energy. Very similar sort of mindset where they can identify the ups and downs of the composition and the draft very, very well. And as the game comes to it, there is a moment where iRaffer and his team decides to go in, and they can identify that moment and make use of it. That's what happened in Game 1. That's what happened in Game 2.
emilitoo spending a lot of time here in the jungle, and Funballer is using this time to freeze the wave up near his tower. emilitoo was there for mid-harpies, came over here to grab the oracles, and Funballer's all right with that. He'll clear the wave right here so that this set threat is minimized as much as possible here in lane.
He'll lose a little bit, what is that, 1 or 2 minions to the tower, but is able to minimize some of the minions that emilitoo can grab. emilitoo gets some of the minions in the jungle, so it all kind of winds up half a dozen in one hand, 6 in the other, but not really too big of an impact. Funballer doing the right micro plays to punish emilitoo's macro plays.
Yeah, it looks like Funballer coming out slightly ahead in terms of the experience per minute. Nothing too crazy, but it is slightly favoring him here some. But as you said, it likely in the wash will all come out relatively even. Looks like total XP needed. Funball not too far away, or is hitting over level 7 there first.
Exactly, and that's really, you know, that's what we were trying to illustrate there, is that we're getting more farm in the jungle for the blue team, more farm in the lane for Renegades. Collis with a whiff.
Trying to be aggressive there in the jungle, but can't find much. Perhaps it was iRaffer who was able to reposition, or the beads from Dardez that gets him out of there.
Continuing the look here as Cherryo dashes forward and snatches that one away. Renegades gets the kill on the right side. Harpy. Oh, I don't know if you want to take this fight.
I agree. I was a bit surprised that Funballer was willing to come this far up. emilitoo is a bit low on mana. It looks like Funball wants to capitalize. Has the Defender of Olympus here as well, and emilitoo will fall for first blood. It's become an old adage at this point, but you're not going to get to have a fight with just one other person.
Ain't no such thing. Ain't no such thing. Oh, no. Every time you think you've got that 1v1, gotta remind you you're in the SMITE Pro League. Just doesn't happen.
Funballer gets a little bit of a backup there from Cherryo, and they find a nice kill. And emilitoo has just not gotten to have a good start to the laning phase in any of these games. He's getting constantly pressured. And I think Renegades have made a good identification, which is that there is that sort of weakness over there that they can go exploit on the left-hand side. Not that emilitoo is weak, but it does look like Eunited have not been very good at responding to that pressure there on that left-hand side.
And I'm not going to go, you know, armchair psychologist and say what is the reasoning, but games 1 and 2, the actual observable evidence is that putting emilitoo down makes him play poorly in the late game. And I'm not just talking about numbers and him not being able to sustain a higher level player ganking him. I mean, the Raijin game was poor in the end game. He just didn't play well. He made bad decisions. He used his ultimate at haphazard times. Right here, jumping in 1v1, not terrible. Probably not the great look, but as I said, late game is really what I'm talking about here.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you it's tilt, but I'm not going to tell you it's not.
Purple buff being defended, looks like at the last minute by Collis. emilitoo wants a little bit more action, but he's got to do this quick because Cherryo's on the way to turn the tide. emilitoo now taunted back in, and it's Dardez showing up at the last second to do about 11 damage. That gets the kill. Not bad for Renegades at all.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And again, it's just the focus of the carry. They understand that he's a little bit vulnerable, and they understand that putting him down for whatever reason makes him play poorly in the later game. Watch out for iRaffer. It's going to change, Ice.
He's taken to the sky. iceicebaby still has the ultimate, though, but he gets interrupted in the middle of that charge, and Raffer's damage is nothing to scoff at here in the early game. Defender of Olympus from Cherryo bails Dardez out of trouble in the middle lane. Renegades on top here, 2-0. And one thing I want to notice, Cherryo has this talisman of energy as his second item that he's picked up here. I mean, gives it a lot of magic defense, but also keeps things moving.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of movement speed here. What is it? It's 2% per stack, so that brings it up to 12% movement speed. A bunch of HP and magical procs. No damage. We usually see like a Void Stone from some of the aggressive players, but I like this better. Last time we saw the Breastplate of Valor, more physical defense. This is more
Win more.
Exactly. Is lean more towards the magical defense, which frankly isn't too much to worry about compared to the Mercury and the set.
Dardez drops the ultimate. It's not enough to defend the red buff. emilitoo and Collis work together to successfully steal that. But it does feed into the mentality they've had all set, which is this waterfall sort of approach to these team fights where they keep aggressive after getting kills and are willing to chase with them. This should certainly aid them with that, along with what some of that Spear of Desolation and some of these other items have been able to do.
And don't forget, it's for your allies as well.
Yes.
This goes along with the Chalice, and you used a great term, waterfalling the team fight. Renegades are looking to just get a kill, get a second kill, get a third kill, get a fourth kill, and then get that fifth kill, get a tower, keep on keeping on. That's what this item allows them to do. That's what the Chalices allow them to do. That's what their game plan has allowed them to do. I'm surprised they don't have a Thanatos.
Honestly, but Cherryo's played so well in the Athena. You won't ask me.
No.
Or have me ask him to switch at this point with how well that he's looked. So iRaffer continues to be aggressive here in the jungle, but it's just him and Kala. It's probably not too much that'll happen at this point. As emilitoo and Funballer continue to battle, but emilitoo might have bit on the bait again. No, he's got backup from iceicebaby this time, but Iceice taunted in to the Supernova, and iceicebaby now a non-factor. Cherryo has to come back and not allow a 1v1 to suddenly appear, but on his way is iRaffer to cut off the escape path. But emilitoo finds a clone and is able to get out of there.
Beautiful play by Emil there, able to finally avoid the aggression from Renegades, which has not stopped. Point to the other side, and all of a sudden we see trouble for Cherryo.
Kala's able to pick up 2, brings them right back into the crypts. Cherryo finds a taunt and dashes out. Yes, he dies, but he stops that from being a 2 for 0, which easily could have happened there.
Just a 1 for none, and it's your jungler, but it's your Athena jungler. And so being able to kind of keep players safe is the job.
Funballer's got to be careful. He's got Dardez rotating in and the Disapparate form. That's why he steps up aggressively. Purple buff stripped again, and this is the best Eunited have looked through 11.5 minutes in this set yet. Much better than what we've seen from them in the first 2 games.
Yeah, this is them actually standing up, right, and making a play. We haven't seen much of that from them in game number 1 or 2. It was 8.5 minutes that we saw Renegades grab a Gold Fury last time around. And from there, the game kind of spiraled out of control for Eunited. This is the first time that they're able to kind of stand up on their own 2 feet. And just letting people know, I mean, the reverse sweep, it doesn't happen often, but we see it. It happened literally yesterday.
That's right.
So Eunited coming back and winning these next 3 would be not unheard of.
Not entirely unheard of at all. Now, the experience charts might tell us a bit of a different tale. It is slightly different, about 1,200 in favor of Renegades, but not the end of the world. Most of that difference is between Funballer and emilitoo, though, at least in favor of Renegades. So, for the most part, it's the only place where you're seeing an experience lead for them. In fact, there's some small deficits elsewhere on the map, like mid and support, that Funballer is kind of making up for in totality.
Support for these 2 characters matters a lot with respect to the levels. I think that Horus and Kalas' choice in the Xing Chen do need to be able to stay relevant as far as their experience is concerned. So that will be something we're looking at. The mid lane, Dardez and Tingz, they'll go back and forth. I'm very curious to see how Dardez plays this Kukulkan. There are a number of different ways you can play him. Almost control mage style, where you can dictate where the players can walk on the map and where they can't, or just let her rip and drop the ultimate off on cooldown.
Both of these mid-mages are going to be worth keeping an eye on. Dardez for how he chooses to play, but also BigManTingz on this Opwash. I mean, it almost feels like the focal point of this Eunited draft is how well BigManTingz can realize this Opwash here into the actual game. Is he going to be under a ton of pressure from Cherryo and iRaffer and Nika all game once this King Arthur starts rotating in? Or will he be that big sort of anti-healing mage they hope he is?
I think they're looking for the big anti-heal. I think that's his job here. Renegades, if they're going to let him do his job, is a different story. Everybody should dive this pooch.
Certainly, that's going to be Nika's job once he rotates in. Glad Shield, Warrior Tabi into the Runic Shield, it looks like, which helps him a lot in lane, but won't make life too hard on him either once he's back there looking for BigManTingz. And the Void Stone potentially coming out from Cherryo. He's got the Ward Stone now, so that's certainly where he's going. They've got a lot of tools that are going to make BigManTingz' job pretty difficult, especially if he doesn't have that pin just yet.
Iceice forced into the beads from Nika's rotation there. Looking for the back camps and the blue camps and pretty much anything King Arthur can get on the enemy side. It's a great look, but getting the beads out of the Mercury, that's a bonus I don't think he was even planning on.
Oh, this Gold Fury is all Renegades. United don't seem to know this is happening at all. A bit slower maybe than you might expect, but they've got the big time confirmed if they even end up needing it in that Kukulkan. Collis now finally starting to get into the picture. Collis wants to be here for it. Renegades confirm the objective of Collis. Brings 3 back into a big major. Look, that crits from iceicebaby, and they're rooted in place, but Supernova dissects the fight. Now Tingz is here to empty the crits, and that punishes Funballer at the very least.
Dardez trying to get out of here. A little bit of a heal will help him for the moment, but emilitoo hot on his tail picks him down. 2
kills on the back end of that fight. Not bad at all from Eunited. That was slow from Renegades, and I don't know, was Funballer there for the damage for it? I mean, I think they were missing that a little bit. 2 plus the Gold Fury, though, for Renegades. How does that end up falling out?
It's about even. You can see it reflected on the graphs right there. You see the jump down in gold, right back towards 0, and then the jump up in gold. It's actually a little bit of a boon for Eunited.
Yeah.
Not even. The 2 kills really worked out.
This could end up bringing it all back, depending if iceicebaby can make it out, but he's got Sonic Boom charged, and reach just was not enough. That would have been huge if Renegades could have found a couple picks there, but instead Eunited hold on, and now, as you pointed out, they've got a bit of a lead here for themselves.
If Renegades make that play, they're able to kind of justify what just went on, but because they're not, Eunited now looking for their next move, and it honestly should be on the enemy red buff. It's waiting to be taken, and the fight after the fact could be good, but they're way too spread out here. Instead, Eunited are going to look to defend their own red buff here with Cherryo sneaking on the inside.
This is good news, though, for Eunited. They're buying some time for these assassins to really get online. emilitoo just built a Transcendence. He's going to want some time to get that stacked. Erendite finished for iceicebaby. These 2 both are going to be trying to get back there to Dardez in particular on this immobile Kukulkan and blow him up quickly. So buying some time for those guys to finish a few more items is critical.
Kukulkan does have more buttons to press than BigManTingz' option, even if it's just one on the slipstream, able to wiggle out of slows and move out of there faster, but no traditional jump, dive, dash like we see out of Agni or Scylla.
So without that extra mobility, he's had to be extra careful. I mean, in all honesty, sometimes with a Kukulkan, if you can get a good tornado and hit 1 or 2 people with your ult, you've done enough. As Funballer needs backup, he is under true duress. Cherryo comes in, but how much work can he do? He can do a lot of work as emilitoo's low. iRaffer on his way to this one as well. emilitoo still buying time, still juking around, but Funballer loops back in to find 1 kill for himself.
Ice and Collis likely to get out of here. You can see Cherryo in the jungle rotating, making sure Opwash doesn't join up. Ice a little bit more vulnerable, and so he'll opt for the all-the-way return, whereas Collis will stay local. Meanwhile, mid lane, BigManTingz loses beads, Cherryo waits it out, and there's a taunt.
And this is how it's going to go all game for BigManTingz, but he survives it this time with the Empty the Crypts and the help of the Tier 2 tower. Nika is going to be hunting this Opwash, and that's the first time we've seen one of these solo laners get involved in the game, and it sets up for 2 Tier 1 towers to fall, 1 in mid and 1 in the long lane.
So that's what we're... Pyromancer going to be next on the menu very quickly as Renegades go from objective to objective, always with their mind on the prize.
Ends up working for them. They now control the only Fury and the only Pyromancer of the game to have gone down so far. So the objective focus has really favored them. And they do need to start, I feel like, fighting with these side laners. They did so much work to get Funballer ahead, and now they're going to start getting that payoff when he starts to rotate in.
Yeah, the Soul is a character. You heard Zeros, I think it was last week, say he still loves Soul.
He does.
We saw him opt for it. A lot of players a little bit low on this character, but the structure damage and the objective damage that she brings is insane. You could really rush down Gold Fury, Fire Giant, or Towers very easily. And so Funball and the rest of the squad know that, and United have to be unaware.
Yeah, this would be a great time to fight, too. Demonic Grip finished for Funball is such a big power spike for this Soul, and I think that's what we're starting to see, rotating a little bit more, especially with that Tier 1 tower down.
Yep.
Certainly has some time now to be involved in these fights.
Dardez, iRaffer, and Nika going to make up the 3v3 here in the mid lane. So opting to shade back to her own lane and get some farm. 1-1-2 so far. A little bit of a lead because Funball has maintained control of this lane, but certainly not enough to hang your hat on.
No, that's all from the early game where they basically backed Funball up to force him out in front. emilitoo might get bait into a fight here with Nika waiting in the wings, but doesn't bite. That's good patience from emilitoo to stay back and safe. They need him if they're going to defend on this Fury that's spawning in 5 seconds.
And that's got to be the play, right? You have to defend on this one. I don't think there's any way that United will let this one go. Renegades will have the first shot, and Collis is here. But I would like to see them stick to this. Them being Renegades, they are in position first. I would like to see them stick to this instead of looking for the fight.
emilitoo going to loop around as well, so Funballer's got to be careful, but plenty of backup, and looks like they even had some vision. They knew that he was on the way. Everybody will be here for this fight, except for Cherryo right this second, but he can Defender of Olympus in at any time, so push up the wave, threatens the tier 1. He'll even have a chance to back. No, he'll keep threatening because no one is rotating over to stop it. This is a good call.
Yeah, nobody there.
Great
and
call.
If they do bring somebody over there to the right side, Cherryo just ults over to the left side. Very, very smooth stuff, and honestly, what do you do about it?
That's exactly right. I mean, what you do is you try and force the hand of Cherryo to rotate over by having a fight here, but United patient in the meantime. Now Cherryo will back, has a chance to spend some of that gold and come in with a power spike. Nemean is not bad at all, and there's that Defender of Olympus. Collis, the early targets, he's stuck inside the Supernova. Ultimate hits emilitoo as well, that's courtesy of Funballer, taunted back in, but a good knock-up from Benji can't keep emilitoo alive.
Sonic Boom cuts everything in half, and Collis on the downside dealing with Nika. He'll be able to chase him out while Cherryo deals with Benji.
And iceicebaby was all the way on the back line, but they use that ultimate from iRaffer to render him useless, basically. They come straight to the back line of Eunited instead, 2 now in favor of Renegades, and then come right back towards this Oni Fury.
This one's going to go down pretty much without a hitch. Benji is local, so maybe I'll check myself there. 25% on the objective so far, John Finch.
Benji still has the ultimate too, so we can always channel that and make it back out exactly like this. That means he'll have to slow down the Oni Fury DPS for a moment, but now Renegades should be able to come back and grab it despite Benji's best efforts, as Cherryo getting the better of iceicebaby.
That's, you love to see it. That's good stuff.
Nemean block stacks, yeah. Not a good fight for him.
Oni Fury going down is a great look here for Renegades. Not only does it signify their lead change back in the lead with respects to gold here, 2,000, more like 3,000 if you ask me, but also the Oni Fury is going to push up the waves. That's what the issue was last time around for Renegades as they looked to end. It took them longer, was because they did not have minions. Now they will.
emilitoo, though, does have some spikes of his own to try and fight around with his Brawler's beat stick finished for him to try and get some anti-heal out. He's worried about iRaffer and Nika in particular and trying to limit them. Nika, on the other hand, not worried about him at all. In fact, he's looking for Benji on the right-hand side. Just some solo lane poke. Unless Benji bites off too much and Funball shows up, maybe they'll have a chance.
Yeah, unlikely for that to convert was my topic of conversation. Now, I'm changing my mind here, but all of a sudden Ice shows up.
Sonic Boom slows down the push from Funball and Nika. I agree, they probably didn't have much potential on their own of getting a full kill, but it's not a bad idea to threaten. Relics were down. It looks like Benji didn't have the ultimate either. Good chance to at least force something.
Cherryo away from that one. Right side, though, Funball in trouble, but he does have help from Dardez.
As iRaffer as well, as he comes in with his own ultimate, they find the first kill, but United are here to make sure the payment will be blood. Funballer caught early on, but can't get hit here. Looks like Funballer at the CC immunity, but not the immunity of the mage. Look, and a little bit of damage from BigManTingz to shut Funballer down. Cherryo has to leave as well, but Nika's found his way to iceicebaby to make it 2 for 1.
Nika's going to chase down BMT, and that keeps him away from the fight and potentially the kill that will be Collis. iRaffer and Dardez trying to chase.
This is way less kills than we've gotten used to seeing in this set, but it looks like the story might end up the same, all the same. Renegades have now made this fight a 3 for 1. They're going to head right back towards Pyromancer, though emilitoo at least gets the tier 1 tower in mid. It's at least something, though obviously Renegades come out on top. Unless emilitoo can steal this here. He's thinking about it.
Even if he does, it's going to be the punishment after the fact, so yeah, you can't be here. Aegis is activated for the moment, Finch, and he'll be able to skew over the wall. Just kidding! Cherryo with the kill. You can't be there, son.
And they lose the Pyromancer, and like you said, I wasn't celebrating the beads in Aegis because there wasn't much chance he's going to live there. Now, for the next fight, he won't have those either. Renegades come out on top in a pretty big fashion there in that fight. They needed it. Good news is for Eunited, they're not so far out of reach that this is out of control by any means, but Renegades have momentum.
Yes, without a doubt. 3,500 in all relevant categories, and Renegades are still looking to make their push, and it just could be here with iRaffer on top of Benji. They'll walk away, but Nika has to flank.
iceicebaby's dash now down. The special delivery ends up hitting Nika. They head to Benji and force out the ultimate from him early so he can continue to aggress. iceicebaby trying to line up a sonic boom, but in these jungle corridors, it can be hard to find a good one.
Renegades need to find their footing. I want to see iRaffer and Dardez, or excuse me, iRaffer and Nika push up while everybody else goes onto the Fire Giant. They've got a 3,000 gold lead, so it's a little tumultuous, but you can peel for the fight. That's what they're going to do. iRaffer's going in.
iRaffer is going in, has the ultimate charge. They had right towards BigManTingz. That ultimate largely irrelevant. They get all the way past it, and Tingz dies early on. Benji stuck in the back line, and they just collapse on him. Even with emilitoo here, there might just be too much damage. Defender of Olympus was channeled to Dardez early, but Benji no longer has that ult for the get out of jail free card.
And so he will go directly to jail. He will not pass go. He will not receive $200. He will sit down for 50 seconds, and that is large enough for Renegades to jump through the window and steal the Fire Giant.
This is a big deal for Renegades. They're showing they can get it done all kinds of ways. Game one was a stomper. They ran over them quick. Game 2, they got stalled at the Phoenix and eventually overcame that. In Game 3, not just even, but there was times where it was in United's favor, and they've overcome that now to have the lead in the late game. They'll grab the Tier 2 tower and right. And they have a minion wave here. They can push and force United to show some kind of defense.
Gonna be tall.
There's no one there.
emilitoo's gonna look for the kill on a Cherryo? I'm sure that's the wrong play. 4 players from Renegades are just able to take the right side Phoenix. Free, 50, free.
Yeah, not bad at all. If you're on the side of Renegades, you'll happily take that. Strip away the speed buff too. And at some point you gotta back and spend your gold, but United's defense is still not set. They might as well come get this Tier 2 tower too.
I agree. You gotta spend your gold to get stronger, but Renegades are beating United as is. So
right. No need to worry about it, at least not right this particular second. Now Renegades can start looking for the disengage tornado just in case they want to cut through that path. They're even going to grab the Primal Fury on the way out. This could be risky.
This I still like, though. This is, again, you're choking your opponent out. If you give United these opportunities, those are the ones that are able to turn into larger ones.
Renegades get Primal. Collis throws everyone away, but BigManTingz was there. Nika, the front line, only one getting hit by the Empty the Crypts, but they lock him down inside it. He's able to reposition, takes over half his HP as iRaffer disengages too, but emilitoo goes right to the back line. He wants Cherryo and iRaffer. He's doing tons of damage, and Cherryo can't stop it. emilitoo finally online.
The entirety of the team is on the left side, though, leaving emilitoo on an island.
This is good.
Benji takes down Nika, and now the rest of the damage coming out on top of Funball. Pop, pop.
But Dardez able to find one. Benji does get himself a double kill, so it's just Cherryo and Dardez that are left. United catch Renegades with their hands in the cookie jar there at that Primal Fury and punish them at least some. iceicebaby has to use the Aegis and does make it back out of there just barely.
Tier 2 tower crumbling. Cherryo's still on the run. Dardez is going to be with him. Tornado dropped, but Dardez is dropped. What's the timers? 57, 12. Oh, it's going to be dangerous. Cherryo's going to die here, but what can United do off of it? They will get a Phoenix.
They will certainly grab this Phoenix. It's only iRaffer that's up in the next 3 seconds. Nika is 15 away as well. There are some minions coming to the Titan, but it's not that big of a deal here at this point as iRaffer's now spawned in.
The minions. iRaffer's here by himself, 1 versus 4, defending against the world. Ice Collins, Benji, too low to tango. 60% on the big man.
They've got emilitoo back there to keep this Titan from ending. There will not be a game end down there, and the Phoenix still stands. But that is way more than United had any right to, man. That last Primal Fury was, I think, just too greedy on the back end of all of that.
You know what it is? I still like the decision, but I wish Renegades were a little bit more prepared for the fight that was going to ensue. You're 6,000 gold up at the time, right? You're able to make that play, let it go, fight the fight. We've seen it time and time again. Maybe not SMITE 101, but definitely competitive 102. at the very least. So a little bit surprising to see Renegades drop that ball, considering how well they've played earlier in Game 1 and Game 2. But emilitoo now stepping inside of the character, 2, 6, and 3. The slash side a little deceptive because the damage is coming online.
Maybe it's just the benefit of hindsight, man, but that's about the only way that United gets back into this is if you give them that play on left-hand side. Now, Renegades are certainly still in control here, 4K gold, and when this Fire Giant spawns another minute, they'll likely be there to grab it right away. But they're going to come force down this Tier 2 tower on left-hand side as well, as United still a bit scattered to the winds. They've given up a lot of their map without even showing defense.
And, I mean, the Titan is halfway dead here. Phoenix will respawn in a moment, but Renegades are barking down the left side lane, a whole new approach. Players still in the right position. Dardez will avoid some of the set poke. God, is he annoying on defense.
Set's hard to deal with. iceicebaby has the ult charged. If someone steps out, he could pull the trigger, but elects not to. Instead, Renegades will go set up in position around this next Fire Giant, or at least I hope that they do. These fights in the jungle over nothing in particular near their own base do seem to favor United.
Fight on the flag is not something we seem to understand, but I won't argue if it's working. 6,000 gold down and then some, probably not working.
But if United do set up for one Phoenix defense, which we haven't seen yet this game, they've been fighting everywhere else except there.
Right.
Who are you looking at for United to try and slow down Renegades on their push?
Kalas with the Pridwin. I think that's going to be a big deal. Kalas is going to be able to look for the back line, hit them with the ult, get a lot of beads or a lot of players. Best case scenario, he's doing this post beads and a lot of players get tossed out and they just get killed. Pre-beads, they're taking care of the beads and then he's able to kind of turn that into a different scenario with the Pridwin slowing everybody down. So that's what I'm looking at. A lot of it is on Kalas' shoulder.
A lot of their good fights have been a result of good whirlwinds of Rage and Steel coming out from Kalas on this Xing Chen. This posturing, though, does make me think United are interested in defending around this Fire Giant. They've got some waves pushed up, not quite to the halfway mark, but certainly to a respectable position where they can be around to try and defend on this Fire Giant.
I agree. Renegades here want to be looking for less the objective and more the fight. Again, not only is it enhanced Fire Giant, but their lead is 6,000. It is good, but not enough, whatever that means.
Certainly not to the point where they can overlook United at this
That's
point
what
in
I
the
meant.
game. Yeah, I think that's certainly fair to say. Kalas takes
Well
half
said.
HP, but Funballer in some trouble. Big time crit brings him low, but he makes into the disapparate. iRaffer has to charge the ultimate to disengage. This might not be an awful fight for United. Some members of Renegades are starting to be low and already expended some relics.
Yeah, emilitoo trying to decide if he's going to go aggressive or not. Plays it safe. Renegade still grouped up. Oh, the taunt misses. That would have been one dead iceicebaby.
At the very least would have gotten his beads. All the relics still available on the side for United, but beads have already been taken from Funballer. Blink already used by iRaffer, and this ultimate from Dardez doesn't find much, but Kalas, he starts to melt. emilitoo goes to the backline looking for Dardez, but those are his beads now forced as well. But Benji sees a good fight, knows one when he sees it, tries to keep the momentum going. Ultimate out from Tingz doesn't find much, and somehow Renegades have made it back to their tier 2.
And they're going to continue. iRaffer jumps on top of Benji. Just to keep distance. emilitoo, though, coming from around the back line, jumping, tossing a bad guy at Dardez. Tornado will catch him. No. He'll walk around it.
emilitoo finds a way out. Nika makes it back to the tier 2 as well. United very much still in this game now at this point. And I don't know how much credit I'm giving to Renegades for this lead anymore at all, really. United are rightfully choosing to stick around in the jungle and fight, but they got to be careful here. It's still a 5v4, and Benji's low without an ult.
Should be fine. Renegades looking for another target. Pushing players out of mid. Going towards Fire Giant again. Probably the call, but no, the Renegades are just going to go back to the farm.
But this is why people are so high on United, especially the other pros. Whenever I talk to them,
They always seem to have United's back, despite what those game 1 and 2 performances. It's because even in games like this, where they're out of sync, where they've been behind the whole game, where they really just have not looked their best, Renegades are still struggling to close this game out, man. They still can't seem to figure out how to put this Eunited team to bed, and they're giving them their due respect, and Eunited are absolutely earning it, I think.
At the end of the day, iceicebaby is one of the best players in the world. At the end of the day, Benji's one of the best players in his position in the world. At the end of the day, emilitoo, once upon a time, has been the top of the top, the best of the best. There is a lot of raw talent on this Eunited team, for sure. Now, can you get all that talent to line up is a different conversation, but there is a hell of it on Eunited.
Yeah, you know, some teams are like cake, right? Where their raw ingredients don't do you any good if you haven't properly put them together. But then some other teams, even if you haven't properly put them together, they can still work.
Okay.
I don't have another dish that works fine uncooked, so it doesn't quite work.
Fruit
But you know
salad.
what does work is BigManTingz. He's able to find himself a kill, and he's sustaining out of combat with those corpses. Meanwhile, on the backside, Funballer's also low. They're going to need some help to try and peel for him. He used Disapparate to reposition, but now he's collapsed on Collis here. Benji looking for disruption as well, and Funballer has suddenly fallen. United now looking for a chance to try and make one big late game push to grab the game.
This could be the play. United still pushing, and Benji and iceicebaby leading the charge. 2 players knocked up. iRaffer goes down.
And Renegades starting to crumble, starting to buckle. United waking up. It's taken them a while. They gifted them 2 here in those first 2 games, but now United is starting to show their prowess. It's just the front line, Cherryo and Nika, left to defend up against 5.
This still will require a Phoenix. There's a tower up. Dardez about to respawn. I don't think this is over, John Finch.
It's not going to be easy by any means. Cherryo coming to the back, but he can't jump in now, not without a Phoenix. And the United recognize they can't close this game out from here. And this right side Phoenix is the least valuable one. You know, it's the one that Renegades should be able to defend relatively easily. But the United are here in this late game, around this Mercury and around this set.
Mercury has been incredible. We saw Scream do it yesterday. We saw Scream do it today. Mercury just brings a whole lot of crit damage. And certainly tough to deal with.
But they've got to find a better way, I think, to keep Dardez alive in the back end of these fights there, Tom. I mean, emilitoo has made it his mission to look for Dardez every single fight. He'll do whatever it takes to get to that back line and start harassing him. And even with a taunt, even with some knockups there from iRaffer, Defender of Olympus, it hasn't always been enough to allow Dardez to get off his damage.
And I mean, that's been the issue, is that Dardez on this pick has been really, really kind of middle of the pack. It seems like more than he's done. It's been kind of low impact. And I think that'll be the issue. Looking at games number 1 and 2, he's definitely been a little bit louder of a player.
All the way on the left-hand side's iceicebaby, so this might not be an awful fight for Renegades. Cherryo dashes in, but no taunt available. emilitoo has the Magi's cloak now towards the tail end of his build, so he'll be able to get to the back line undeterred a little bit better as this Fire Giant Jance continues the music a bit on a loop at this point as our teams reset.
Cherryo and iRaffer, again, leading the charge as they should. Big man setting up these corridors with undead surges, making sure that somebody's going to be hit by the big burst. United pushing up further here, John Finch. I'm really looking for Renegades not to flank here. I want to see that death ball move forward.
Renegades have seemed to struggle, I would say, in these last 10 minutes to really figure out what their best initiation is. Is it taunts coming out from Cherryo, or is it emilitoo just being out of position? Aegis and Beads buy him some time. Supernova's not enough for the kill, and emilitoo baits perfectly to somehow keep himself alive. Benji wants to reaggress, so does iceicebaby. Sonic Boom comes through, but they pop themselves a shell. Two-man taunt lands on iceicebaby, and Cherryo doesn't have the damage to finish this off either. They can't keep Dardez and Funballer close.
Emil's right behind. Emil could have walked over the wall, but opts to play it safe. Collis and Benji, probably too tanky to really chase down here, but Renegades have some healing, and the Fire Giant alone right now.
Boy, howdy, emilitoo is fortunate to be alive at this point, right? We don't want to call it lucky. I mean, he uses the beads and Aegis, has the Magi's cloak and the mantle for those exact reasons, but that was about as close could be on potentially even costing the game there on that play towards the front side of that fight. But Renegades can't quite punish him for it. The rest of Eunited are there with Empty the Crypts, with Sonic Booms. That puts Renegades on their back heels, and they still can't find a way to take down this Fire Giant in a way that is safe for their team.
It's really tough. I mean, Funball has the damage as far as being able to rush through and burn something down, and Dardez has a capitalization, has the confirm for sure, but Renegades are still unsure of themselves. 2,000 gold. I mean, this is a tie game at this point.
Yeah.
And that can be tough to deal with when you're looking for the big objectives.
You could tell Funballer's feeling the pressure. He's got Emperor's Armor as his one splashed in defensive option this late here in the game. I mean, it certainly makes some sense if they're around those structures, and it's going to help him do a lot more damage to them, or rather make the siege easier for them. But just as a one-off Fizz protection item, it's not necessarily the one I think of, as Emil has the Magai's Cloak forced.
Nice back off there. Gives me a second to talk about the items, because I do actually love this choice from Renegades.
Really?
I do, because iRaffer usually purchases this item. Instead, he's gone into the Shogun's Kusari, which will provide Funball with some necessary offensive damage by way of attack speed. Funball can go into the Emperor's Armor because iRaffer's kind of lacking it, and since iRaffer's boosting up Funball, Funball can pick up where iRaffer has to boost up Funball there. So it's a nice little trade-off between the two players, plus iRaffer is going to be on the Horus playing aggressively. It's more likely Funball will be under the structure itself versus the support player.
Sure, I mean, I don't mind physical defense, but there's so many good options. Emilitoo goes to the backline yet again. He wants to try and trade out Dardez. Aegis buys a moment, defender of Olympus too, but Emilitoo cannot be deterred. He finds the kill to Dardez. Sonic Boom from iceicebaby comes through as well, and suddenly iRaffer is in the grave. Benji takes to the sky on the Jormungandr as well, and Funballer joins him. A double kill for a push for the BigManTingz. Eunited not ready to go home yet.
No, this is going to be it. Eunited just need to do some cleanup, and we're going to a game 4. They've got 3 players down on the bench for 40 seconds. A tower still remains, but they're looking for the kills. The Phoenixes are still standing. Cherryo's alive. The right side Phoenix will still I am beside myself. I thought they could win here.
Well, they certainly still can. I mean, we're 35 seconds from iRaffer joining up, so yeah.
Okay.
Eunited's just going to move in and grab this one at this point. Nika, as strong as he is in King Arthur, this is a tall task to try and keep 5 members at bay at this point in the game. iceicebaby is starting to be low, but they finally bring Nika down, and that should do it. Eunited not going to get shut out. They get 1 on the board.
Nice job for the red, white, and blue, able to turn things around. Even this game dominated by Renegades in the early stages, and then just let it linger. 41 minutes. The big difference between game 1 and 2 is length, quite obviously. I think this was a situation where Renegades allowed Eunited to get back into it.
It was the same thing again. They didn't know how to keep Dardez alive when Emilitoo went on in the back line, and it also looked like Renegades wasn't sure what their initiation was in the late game. They couldn't start fights to win the game, literally to win the game. They couldn't start a fight to make that happen, so they got to figure out a way to keep Dardez alive in those late game situations next time, and figure out how they're gonna, what their win condition is gonna be to start fights.
Don't pick the cool con. I think that's a place to start there.
It definitely hurt them.
Yeah, just not a lot of tools there to help out the middle laner. I don't know, just seemed a little bit disjointed compared to games 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then Emilitoo kind of staying in that game. He has had a rough set so far, constantly been the focus of Renegades in this early game. He holds on to get to that point where the set can be the late game monster that we know he is. Paired alongside that Mercury, good luck if you're in a mobile backliner trying to survive.
Yeah, it's just not going to be up to the task. You know, I said I wasn't going to say it was tilt, and that's why, because Emilitoo is able to pull it out here in the later stages of the game. You like to see that. So if I'm Renegades, I'm still kind of sticking to my game plan because it worked for the majority here in game number 3. It just didn't finish it off the way they would like.
Well, Eunited not going to be shut out. In fact, they still have a chance here in this set to win it. Game number 4 going to be coming at you in just a few minutes. Alienware, the official PC provider of the SMITE Pro League.
We're here live from Atlanta. The players are here. The stage is set. Let's get down for esports!
This is where we also talk about the new stuff that we've got coming out for you all.
Look, HRX is literally my favorite time of year. It truly isn't close. This is what I live for.
It's that second place. I can't wait to see what first place is.
It's HRX. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to Eunited. Feels like they're finally back and playing at the SPL level. They win game number 3. Aggro joined by Zeros here on the desk. And Zeros, I mean, it wasn't looking good early.
I thought it wasn't.
I was packing my bag. I was ready to go home, thinking about what I was going to get for dinner. And then Eunited kind of wake up. Emilitoo has a couple big late-game fights on the set, not normally where you'd see him have that level of impact.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I felt like in the early game, he was so irrelevant. I felt like so many weird plays coming out for him too. Like, I feel like you picked the set ADC to win lane and kind of dominate early game, and it was pretty much the opposite of that. But then, at the end of the day, he does have the clutch pick on Dardez in the end, which makes them win the game. So, like, yeah.
Makes it work for him. I mean, Benji was a nightmare on this. Jormungandr, he was chasing people down consistently. Kalas had how many huge ultimates this game? I thought Kalas played really, really well.
Yeah, I feel like this game is on the back mainly of obviously Benji on the Jorm and then BigMan and Kalas. Like, so many big blink initiates by Kalas to get the ult off into like a puck ult. There's so much damage. And once BigMan got his items, he went Obsidian short pretty late, which was kind of weird to me considering they have Athena jungle that went like what's called the talisman first item. So he had a lot of medical defense from the get-go. I would have liked to see an Obsidian short earlier, but as soon as he got that, they had enough damage to take down this super tanky front line of Renegades.
And Renegades just never felt like they had enough damage. This is the fight where you were talking about where Emilitoo's able to clean up Dardez.
And look at his damage.
What do you know, man? Another big ultimate from Kalas brings someone right back into BigManTingz' damage. I mean, this is a tough game to lose if you're Renegades, I think, because you were pretty far ahead for a little bit of time, but the Cuckoo Khan, now it's my turn to agree with you. It just didn't do a whole lot there for Dardez.
Yeah, he did do pretty good player damage though, but like player damage isn't everything. You know, so he has 30k, he has top on his team, but it's just like he brings no CC, it's just damage, right? And like, I don't know, I feel like he should, even if he had the Scylla like he did first game.
Sure.
Then you have some CC to follow up on the Athena tools. I feel like the Scylla would have been a lot better here than the Kukulkan.
I agree. Or the Hera that didn't get banned, or the On Her that didn't get banned. I think that all those would have fit pretty well in that composition. But maybe they get another chance at it because we are going to a game number 4. United wins game 3, avoids the sweep. But now Renegades looking poised to try and take this game number 4. I mean, I think that if you're Renegades, you're probably not feeling too bad about this one. You just take first pick again. You manipulate it so you probably get Amaterasu again, and you probably win again.
Yeah, sure, but I think Eunited on the other end, they look kind of demolished in the first game that we saw a surrender vote coming up. Benji was building full damage on Jorm. I felt like they were kind of out of it mentally, but now with a win, you never know. When the United turns up, they can play it so well. So
that is true.
I think it might be a big comeback now for United, maybe.
I mean, this is the definition of a momentum team, right? I mean, they look they look like they can't win a game sometimes, really like they did in game 1. And now they get a win. It's hard fought. It's tooth and nail. but they get the W, and maybe Kalas and Ice get off to one of their starts where they can just run the whole game.
Yeah, that's what I think might happen. And for Renegades as well, right? They were definitely in a position to win this game, and they lose. So, like, obviously it's going to feel bad for them, and on the other hand, it's going to feel so good for Eunited winning like this.
And that's going to be a big swing of momentum, potentially. Nika on the King Arthur did his usual job. I still think he's one of the best King Arthurs in the league right now, really up there with the names like Variety, like Benji, and was able to make that pick work very, very well. But Benji just felt like he was able to do so much in these team fights, despite playing a god in Jormungandr that doesn't always control the same level that King Arthur does.
Yeah, I think he had the same play damage as the Big Man almost, and you saw the last clip we had there, how much damage Big Man was putting up, so like super impressive by Benji.
See if he can repeat it here. Game 4, picks and bans ready to go, and it is Renegades in first pick position. That does not surprise me at all. Now, Eunited did ban the Amaterasu in game number 3, but that's when they were in first pick slot. It's a lot easier to ban things that you don't want to play against in first pick right now.
Yeah, but I think on second pick, like Persephone, Isis, Amaterasu.
Sure.
Surely those are the top 3 bans.
Yeah, what else would you ban there? I mean, Set maybe, but Renegade's going to take care of that one for you because emilitoo did a good work on it in those late game team fights. I agree that Eunited is almost certainly going to ban Ama and Isis, and there's one of them. And then Amaterasu. So Renegades, I mean, first pick Thor seems okay to me. This set has been really determined by aggressive supports. But at the same time, Khepri's been left open a lot, and I feel like that's a good pick here for Renegades.
Yeah, sure, they could do that. But then, I don't know, there's the Thanatos that is in the meta right now that is also really good against Khepri. But I think even Thanatos against Khepri, I think Khepri can still be good enough to pick for sure, yeah.
I agree. I think this god is so strong. But Renegades instead decided to take Benji off that Jorm, so no Set for him, no King Arthur for him. Those are definitely his 3 highest priorities, it feels like, in that solo lane right now. He did go to the Osiris in game number 2, but that one did not work out quite as well.
Yeah, but now again, like we talk about a lot that we want to see Benji on something that can carry mid-game, right? Sure, Jorm is good in the mid-game, but like, there's other warriors as well. There's still Achilles, the Osiris, as you mentioned. So like, I really want to see him because like, he's probably feeling himself right now, and if he can get off to a good start on a like heavy mid-game warrior, I think he can do so much work.
Saw Tyr earlier on for solo Retrol. That could do it. He's also played Thor solo, and Thor is open. That seems like a pick that's not a warrior, but plays a lot like one.
Yeah.
Then you can make those great mid-game rotations with that ultimate. So that could be somewhere where Eunited is going to go and try and flex pick that Thor. They did that in game 1, and then ultimately ended up putting it in the jungle for iceicebaby, so might continue with that sort of style. Is Eunited really thinking about this one? And that usually game 4, like as a player, you game plan for games 1 through 3 pretty well and what you want to do in picks and bans. But game 4 is usually when it starts all happening on the fly, right?
Exactly. Like you have to adapt a lot to what the enemy team is doing, and like I think Eunited might look to pick Xing Tian here, right? Because Xing Tian has 100% win ratio, been picked every game and won every game so far in this set. So okay, they go for the Athena instead.
So that's a call-out special in the Athena, but doesn't seem like it's a great matchup up against Xing Tian. You get interrupted an awful lot when you're trying to dash in or dash out. That ultimate can cause you a lot of problems. I think this is a little bit scary for Eunited if that's the direction that iRaffer wants to go. Geb is also still open, which is a pretty good pick.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I think they're probably going to prefer Geb over Xing Tian here, mainly because like Geb shielding the Athena taunt, right? But yeah, interesting.
Naja, this is very similar to Renegades' game 1 composition with that Naja, and there is the Geb for iRaffer. This is a lot of control, good ability to take people out of combat by way of CC with Naja, Jorm, and Geb all having some ability to move people out of fights. Is Erlong Shen the pick? This is for iceicebaby in the jungle, I'd imagine. Don't see that in solo much these days. Ice loves this god. It fits his playstyle. It's early pressure. It's great team fight. It's great CC. Still worth picking even after the nerf?
Not sure. I was thinking about the thing. I don't know if this would work at all, but he has a knock-up Erlang with his turtle in the lane against Jorm, right? So maybe you could turtle the Jorm and then all in with your 2 and your 1, and maybe you can like win that trade hard. I'm not sure if that's a matchup that could work in Erlang's favor, but maybe.
Could work. On paper, that makes sense to me. I guess not a lot of inherent sustain in the kit. You need to ult in order to regen your HP, but get Berserker Shield, cleave down the lane.
Exactly.
Like, I think that could work. Something certainly worth considering. A couple mages taken off the board here by Eunited. Scylla and the Olo run as both Jingwei and Vamana banned by the Renegades. I believe Renegades do the exact same trick. Ban the Vamana.
Pick the Hera.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hera's sick here, I think, for Renegades. But Eunited has the first draft out of this ban phase. Morrigan is open. That's what Emil has gone to at times. Thoth also open, surprisingly enough.
Honor. I wonder... emilitoo also played Honor last week, but it did not look good at all.
No, that was rough.
So I would assume this would be BigMan on Honor and emilitoo on Merlin, but BigMan is also a really good Merlin player, so I would kind of want to see Merlin. Thing is, both Honor and Merlin has a lot of good follow-up on the Athena taunt, so I guess both will be fine in mid.
Either one, you can kind of wait and see what option Renegades decide to give you. Honor is the selection for Eunited. Now Renegades, I agree. I think Hera's a really good look here for Dardez.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you know what's actually sick here? Cupid mid. Cupid mid slams this comp. And Dardez loves playing it too.
Yeah, would it be good against Honor though if it's Honor mid? Because he can ult the Cupid ult, right? And kind of...
Yeah, it can cause you some problems.
Yeah, I guess you could really punish the Erlang and the Athena though, I suppose.
Yeah, and you've got great setup with Naja and Geb.
True.
I think that you could really make that work, and Dardez seems to really like that pick. I would love to see a Cupid mid here, but it is going to be the Hera anyways. I'm still totally fine with this pick. Hera, we're starting to see that pick and ban rate rise, man. It's only going to go up from here.
Yeah, it's just like, I think since they banned Vamana is so good against Hera, right? You get Fatalis, you ult, and you just run it out. She can't get away from you no matter what.
Right.
So like, thought it was pretty obvious they were gonna pick Hera after the Vamana ban.
You know who else I like against Hera quite a bit is Zhang Kui. Zhang Kui, I think, has a pretty good matchup there.
Oh yeah, I guess it blink. Yeah, that makes sense.
How does she ever get away from you? Chang'e for Benji. This is an old school pick that he likes a lot in that solo lane. Brings great team fight presence. It's gonna be hard to match, I think, for Renegades. That extra bit of sustain. They've got good control. I'm a little worried about their damage output, I think, but it's not even that bad. I like it. I kind of like this draft.
Yeah, I like it. I have a lot of follow-up like that. There's so much from Athena taunt there too, right? Desert Fury, Merlin damage, even Chang'e out on top of that. So yeah, I like it. Really good draft for United. Kind of weird draft, but it could definitely work.
They've got range CC, which is very important. They've got AoE damage I like a lot. And Hera, God, just like I was saying, I like Zhang Kui against it. Chang'e, you waxing Mooner, what does she do?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You have to beads and run, and she can't always get away from you. Eunited going with a different style, though, and I think that's the big thing. They had to work so hard to get one style to work there in Game 3. Is this going to be enough to keep the series going?
Yeah, that's the question. Pretty unlikely, but it could be Chang'e jungle and Erlang solo. Super unlikely, but the thing is, I really want to see the Erlang with your matchup because I think that maybe could be good.
Maybe queue it up later tonight on stream, Zeros. Renegades trying to close out the series here, up 2-1 over Eunited.
Thanks, Aggro and Zeros. As we move into game number 4, Eunited have fought their way to a 4th game after 2 disappointing 1 and 2 games. They absolutely look much better in game number 3. I almost wonder, you know, if you were fighting someone and you were beating the Christ out of them, it would get hard to keep going. You'd start to let up a little bit. You know what I mean? And I wonder if that's what happened. United kind of bait them in a little bit to lull them to sleep.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe you're just wailing so hard. They're beaten and torn. Every bone of their body is shattered, and you're like, man, I'm tired of beating you up.
Yeah, it's like that strategy, right? Or at least, you know, you might start to relax just a little bit too. I think that I would give it 95% that United played very well around those late game Fire Giant fights.
Yeah.
And then maybe a slight chance that Renegades pulled it. A slight chance.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I think if they're not killing emilitoo directly, there might be a little bit less heavy foot on the gas pedal. But a new game, a new playstyle here. Benji on the Chang'e. Should be interesting to see the way that matchup goes for sure. But I want to see Cherryo be active on the Naja. I know I'm wishing for something that will not come, but I want to see him be more aggressive even with the build.
It looks as though the purple buff was successfully invaded, though, by United when they moved down. It was just iRaffer that are trying to contest. Now level 2. This is iRaffer certainly dead here at this point. iceicebaby finds first blood on the Erlang Shen. It was jungle ADC versus support ADC, and it favored United.
Yeah, the pin very, very strong. They're able to just cut down iRaffer. First blood on the other side for the first time all series. So United have to be pretty happy about that one. But will it really affect the game at large is a bigger conversation. Geb is going to be rotating. Geb's going to be able to kind of deal with that little bit of a speed bump. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know that Eunited even, or not Eunited, but emilitoo specifically even remembers what it's like to not have to play from a deficit. I mean, because he has been looking up basically this entire set. So now we'll get to see him try and press his advantage with a bit of a lead. But you're mentioning Benji on this Chang'e earlier. He's going to start with meditation against the Jormungandr. We see Chang'es do it all the time, so they can try and maximize their passive and stay in lane basically the entirety of the laning phase.
It's one of my favorite things to see. I've said a number of times that I just don't like teleport. It's a necessary crutch. You need it. I'm not saying that you don't need it. You do need it. But if you can get away without it, it is a beautiful look. And so Benji here playing to my heart. While Cherryo might not, Benji will certainly provide me with the excitement and the entertainment that I'm looking for. So we'll see how long he can stay in lane without backing.
And Ryan was talking about this Chang'e potentially having a decent matchup into the Hera, that the Waxing Moon could potentially lock Dardez down, and that Hera doesn't have a ton of good options for repositioning once she gets locked down. Do you foresee Dardez having some trouble here as well, too?
Not particularly. I understand that there's not really a movement ability here for Dardez, and that can absolutely lock him down, but I think the shield will help him get out of a lot of trouble that Chang'e wants to give. Chang'e's not going to provide burst damage. That could be an issue.
As iceicebaby blinks in onto Funballer, saves the pin to catch him underneath the tier 1 tower. The flames there from emilitoo as well. But despite the heat, Funballer does not cook. Makes his way back out safely. And Cherryo now rotating in for a potential punish. But looks like Eunited have sensed it. They're on the run.
Yeah, you can see, well, those are blue wards. He doesn't walk over a red ward. It's just a little bit obvious that the jungler's going to show up. Now they're ready to fight into it. Emilitoo is low on mana, but probably enough for Flicker. So the team will continue to fight. There's the sash, and no. iceicebaby shows up, and so no Flicker necessary.
Funballer had already used the roll there aggressively. Now he's the furthest one forward, and he's in some trouble. Collis on the way here as well. There's that roll. Gets Funballer back out of there. Now with Dardez and Raffer, the numbers favor Renegades, so they start to come back in. Argus knocks up iceicebaby, sash there. Cherryo finds one of his own. Blink, Shockwave, catches Collis, but the rest of the team more interested in purple.
I thought there'd be some follow-up. Purple is certainly fine as well. This was a nice look here from Renegades because they bring 2 players over with the rotation. Eunited absolutely expected the rotation from Raffer. You saw Kala stop him in the jungle. They did not expect the rotation from Dardez as well. And he shows up kind of out of nowhere, and that's the surprise factor is what gets the kill.
In favor of Renegades, at least in that scuffle, but First Blood still favoring Eunited on this Erlong Shen jungle, no less. He's gotten some changes, so he's not quite as potent as he once was. You know, the haste form taking off and not doing quite as much damage as he once did. But his setup factor, in terms of the knockup, the pin, the taunt, that's all still there, man. So Erlong Shen certainly still has a place.
The core to the kit, again, that's really what I hope is always maintained when they make balance changes or even larger changes, is the identity of the character. And Iceice still absolutely has Erlong's identity there. The control factor, a little bit in control. BigManTingz helps his enemy out there. Nice taunt from Collis, and it was negated by BigManTingz' pillar.
Raffer ends up making it out of that one without too much trouble. This is a different look now for Eunited, though. With this draft, they've got BigManTingz instead of an Opwash, who can struggle being aggressive and mobile. Until the late game, they've got this Honor who's ready to start rocking and rolling right from minute 1, basically. So a big different switch around here for Eunited. emilitoo is on the Merlin here this time, the long lane, where he'll be getting a bunch of farm. I'm interested to see how well this team can almost about face a 180, it feels like, into a completely different draft and identity in this game.
Well, it does identify that Eunited have a very different style and a very different approach to this game, right? Benji and Chang'e, different types of characters, different types of abilities being able to be used here. And that's what they need to do if they want to change things up, because they just weren't finding any success in games 1 and 2, and not even 3 to the latter stages. So completely changing things around is a great look for them. Renegades, on the other side, they're just kind of sticking to what they've been doing, and I like the choice.
Benji's been hit by the Windfire wheels, but looks like Defender of Olympus is here to try and bail him out. But Raffer shows up as well for a 2-man Cataclysm. And now Collis in some trouble as well once this Jormungandr lands with the dash. still available means that he makes it out, but they know Funballer has no backup here.
Up to the sky, and he'll be able to fire just a couple of shots out. Cuts it short to try and surprise the opposition. Doesn't. Rolls out. There's a nice look, and Ice onto the tower. Can't find the pin.
Huge.
And Funball gets out of jail.
That's so important. Yes, he still is forced back to base. It's going to miss some farm, but when they commit that hard to right and you survive the shank, that's a big deal as the speed buff also gets grabbed.
Cherryo with 2 great plays in a row fantastically maneuvers around BigManTingz. So he uses the sash not only to interrupt BigManTingz's damage onslaught, but uses the AoE damage to go ahead and take down and get the actual speed buff. Then after the fact, he beads the knockup, which would ensure his death. And then after that, the tertiary play was how he dodges and weaves. And then shout out to Dardez, 1v1ing Ice.
And that's huge too. That was defensive from Renegades. Ice was looking to try and strip away the red buff. But Dardez not only grabs that, but gets the much-needed kill. And this is back to our pace from games 1 and 2. Game 3 was much different in that there weren't many early fights at all. That game crawled along until about the 25-minute mark where they had those fights around FG. But this early and active from Renegades is what got them so much success in the first 2 games.
That's why I think they're happy to see themselves doing this again here in game number 4. They understand how they were able to find that success, and they're looking to do it again. And looking at Renegades, it's the individual prowess that allows them to do this. Dardez, like I said, took the 1v1 over there, and I celebrated Cherryo's just the micro play over there by the speed buff, by the enemy speed buff for what it's worth. Invading speed is intentionally difficult. When they changed the map, they put speed there, and developer note was we moved speed so that it would be difficult to invade. Renegades say we don't care. On the 3rd respawn of it, we'll look for it, and they get it. Beautiful.
Plus, Funballer survives the 2v1 on the left. Lots of individual plays from Renegades.
Yeah, I
but
didn't
it
mention
looks
that.
like Renegades are trying to shut down some of those plays coming from the other direction. Look at this devotion to anti-heal. Divine Ruin, first item from Nika in solo lane. He's going to need this ult because he sure don't have no protections except for Warrior's Blessing. Get a couple of aggressive shots here, but I imagine this last one is for the retreat, so he gets on out of there.
Benji thinking about the totem, but it's already over. No need to go and mess with that one.
Divine Ruin, first item. Yes? Are you saying yes here to this?
I actually am, because it's a solo lane Jormungandr.
Collis is in some trouble here, though. Argus keeps the CC chain moving. Now Collis able to get that attempt at retreat, but the Windfire Wheel says no to that. Cherryo shuts him down with that ult.
Literally took it out of Funball's hands. Look how upset Funball is. Funball's like, mate, I want to hit those 3 shots. And Cherryo goes, nah, that's my kill. Going back to what you were saying, I don't mind the Divine Ruin first item, and I'll tell you why. For going boots in the solo lane for the first item or so is totally fine.
Yes.
You've got literally a teleport to walk to lane. I don't care there. But most of the time you're looking for a defensive item. Voidstone comes to mind, if not some of the more purely defensive items. But Jormungandr A is a character that likes to deal damage. Jormungandr 2 is a character that likes to be up close and personal to these players. And on a 3rd point, this is where you want to build your offense, because later you're going to need those defensive stats. So you can put in this Divine Ruin, which you would like to see here. The other option is maybe Contagion, or excuse me,
Pestilence, yeah.
Pestilence is perhaps the more standard way to go. But this is Nika understanding that he's playing a warrior, not a straight guardian, and he's embracing the fact that he's going to be doing some damage and some tanking. He's hybrid. He's pure hybrid here, if that's an oxymoron I'm allowed to use, and I like the choice.
It's risky. If he continues to get ganked on this right-hand side, he's going to have to be quick on the trigger finger in regards to that ultimate, because he will not have much by way of help up against iceicebaby's damage, or Benji's, really.
Beautiful.
As Cherryo responds by finding a sick Windfire Wheels. Nika's on his way, and he's got extra damage, but they both get hit by the Waxing Moon. That's a nice ultimate there from Benji. Iceicebaby's still standing, but Nika looks to rectify that by going into the ultimate, but he's getting juked down, and he's just going to disengage instead.
Yeah, good choice from Nika. Almost. And nobody's getting a t-shirt for that one. But Renegades certainly have made themselves known as far as how they're willing to play here. And Cherryo is on the money right now. He's got the beat stick, and he's going to be building into the Shield of Regrowth most likely. More damage. More damage. You're nailing these 180 sashes and these interrupt windfire wheels. More damage.
What do you want to see, the slide for the brawlers then? Like, just a more straight up power item, or what are you looking for?
Transcendent. No, I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be upset, but realistically speaking, yeah, give me a shifter shield. Give me a void shield. Void shield, I think, would speak to what Cherryo wants to do and what I want to see him do. I think void shield is probably the happy medium, but yeah, shifter shield all the way up.
Nika a target yet again, and no ultimate this time. He's now been rooted as well, but he also has purification beads.
Yep.
Nika knows he needs a little bit of extra help, I suppose, if he has no procs.
Cherryo here. And those procs will show up later. I'm very positive that we're going to see Nika build into some standard stuff. I don't think we're going to see the Zeros mid lane build.
Not over here in the solo lane, not just yet in any ways. At the very least, it has had the nice effect of relieving some pressure there onto Funballer. He was getting early attention on the left-hand side, but I do think Nika looks a bit like a tasty treat on the right-hand side, and he survived all that pressure so far, and that meant Funballer is free and clear.
It's funny. Whether they drew it up that way or not is up for debate, but I like that because at the end of the day, Nika with the ultimate is still slippery as an eel, right? But obviously is a little bit more attractive because he's not as tanky. Maybe that was intentional to draw some attention away from the long lane. Maybe it's just a nice side effect, but either way, I think it's something that we can talk about. Kalis with the Sunder. I want to talk about that one real quick. Sunder is a missable active that you can actually just miss it. So with that in mind, the Athena taunt into the Sunder is one of the few ways you can actually guarantee that this hits somebody. You heard the devs talk about how devastating it can be. Their crowd control sort of circle, Benji and Ice and everything else that comes the way of the Athena taunt. Whoever gets taunted will just die, and that's going to be a big deal for Renegades. That's why I like Dardez with the shield. A lot of options there. It might expose Nika even more so, like you were worried about.
Certainly could. He goes into the stone of binding here next for a little bit of extra AoE pen for the squad, as well as some nice all protections to keep him alive.
I would have liked that to be more tanky now.
Yeah, instead of this more hybrid-y item, I suppose.
Yeah. Just straight up, because you're going a pure damage item. It's not pure damage. I understand its utility, the anti-heal. You're not getting as much power. Sure. It is non-defense. Let's say it that way. So by going non-defense, you need to kind of make up with a super defense item, and we're just not seeing that. That in mind, Nika is 0-0-1 and has wiggled away from every single situation. So maybe it's not worth talking about if he winds up with 0 deaths, but he will be less tanky, and Eunited have already made note of that.
Well, despite Renegades being ahead 4-1 in terms of the kills, at least as far as gold's concerned, Eunited actually a bit out on top here so far, so not worried too much about some of these early spills. BigManTingz has a very slight lead over Dardez, it looks like experience-wise as well, so Eunited have about 1,000 gold to their name right now.
Just about. Other consoles maybe looking for something around the corner with Cherryo, but not the case. But yes, it's going to be a slight lead here for Eunited. Where they can utilize that is going to be the question. Because I'd like to see Renegades continue with their onslaught. iceicebaby has really only taken the opportunities that have come to him. Hasn't really been over-aggressive, whereas Renegades, on the other hand, are more willing to play on the other team's side of the map. They're more willing to look for the pick-off kills, and they're more willing to look for the straight-up ganks. And so with that in mind, I would like to see Renegades do more of this.
Perfect timing. Executioner, Desolation, Shield of Rico, a lot of power items finished. As Gold Fury's already low, but a big taunt from iceicebaby, and Eunited strip it away. Nika's low, and Kalis the one that finds the kill credit for it. As soon as Renegades put their hand in the jar, it snaps shut.
I saw that as soon as the Kalis ultimate came through. Knew Eunited were going to be able to nail that one. Renegades tried to all in. Would have liked to see some sort of zone. Oof. That turns into the Gold Fury steal into the tier 1 tower in the middle lane, and Eunited take control. They're going to be up like 3,000-4,000.
They're going to head to Pyromancer on the back end of this one as well. No reason not to. And Renegades, whoa, Eunited Who needs Pyromancer? They're gonna head right for the Fire Giant. They're gonna try and make the back-breaking play, but they can always just drop it here at this point. Cherryo gets past the dash with the sash, but they lock him down. Benji gets the kill credit. FG still leashed even now. emilitoo is still on it as iRaffer and Dardez trying to find some kind of way to make it in. Fire Giant still there, but they use the ring against him. Benji finds a double.
Funball will grab a tier 1 tower, maybe even a tier 2. Here comes Dardez,
Good
no
taunt.
ultimate available, and he's just gonna be toasted. Fire Giant goes down to Eunited, and the tier 2 will fall down, so Renegades get something. But that is a swing. Eunited go from gold to mid to Fire Giant.
They have turned this entire set around, man. Eunited was getting trounced in games 1 and 2. I don't know any other way to describe it. And they bounced back in a big way in game 3. Still was a bit rough early, but they dragged it out and found a big solid win at the end of that game 3. And now here in game number 4, even though they were down 4-1 in kills, they had the gold lead. They properly responded over there. The Gold Fury turned that into a Fire Giant, a 5,000, 6,000 experience lead out of nowhere. They're ready to start making big pushes, and there's all these towers to go get for more gold.
This is what Renegades look like in games 1 and 2. And United are just returning the favor. A taste of your own medicine, if you will. And Renegades right now just have to wish for a spoonful of sugar.
It's so funny. The conversation coming into this was which team's going to show up. Turns out neither one fully showed up, perhaps, right? Or maybe they both are here. Either way, it's never so black and white. It's always something in between. And what we're seeing here now is that Reunited maybe needed a coffee or something, because games 3 and 4 have looked like different teams entirely here from them in this game number 4. So we'll see how well they can play around Benji and all this sustain on this as they start to make their push here around all these towers that are up.
Yesterday, we saw Rival play against Obey Alliance, I believe it was, and they did the same thing. They lost the first 2 games, and then they came through with this reverse sweep. And Final K said, I'm sure it was a little tongue-in-cheek, but, you know, he was like, listen, man, sometimes a little groggy game 1. Sometimes just not locked in. And like I said, sure it was a little tongue-in-cheek, but I'm sure there's a little bit of reality there. Listen, I'll tell you as a commentator on my biggest days, casting Worlds Finals, game 1, you're just not as warmed up. There's a rhythm to this, and there's a rhythm to what Eunited are doing. Now the rhythm section is clicking, and they're finding their marks.
Renegades are planning to defend on the tier 2. Funball's beads are burned. Collis, though, takes a lot of damage. Argus comes through to say hello as well. Collis decides to at least get the frenzy off, but Funballer finishes him from the sky.
Nice stuff. It's going to be the 5-on-4 defense on the tier 2 tower. Work it out. emilitoo grabs 1.
But Benji's low as well. The shell just barely keeps him alive. He finds a heal in all of that as well. Looks like Cherryo, Windfire Wheels defensively back into the tier 2, but they're holding on to this tower for now.
Curious play there from Cherryo. Obviously, if he grabs a player, he goes to the sky and avoids a lot of the damage as well. But either way, it's 4-on-4, both supports in the bench.
Nika and the rest of the squad not going to give up this tier 2 tower. The difference, though, Fire Giant and the healing from a Chang'e for Eunited. They can afford to stick around here at this tower line all day long. Can Renegades have that same amount of staying power here as Nika looks for the knockup, but the rest of the team starts to move in?
It's going to be Nika running away. iceicebaby with the movement speed of everything. In comes Collis, and Nika's in trouble. The Oni Hunter's Garb certainly helping him out there.
Yeah, our support got here first. Defender of Olympus, not bad at all, as Eunited used that to bring Collis right back into the thick of things and set up for an iceicebaby dive. They grabbed the tier 2, but all that work is just for the tier 2. Renegades are clearly still within striking distance here in this game.
Oni Fury is going to spawn about 20 seconds. That would be a great look for either team. Renegades spread out, though, looking for their own jungle. Probably not a bad plan. And now with iRaffer back, the itemization from him much more team-focused this time around. No Spear of Dezo. It's going to be the Sovereignty helping his squad deal with what BigManTingz and iceice are bringing.
Might be a trap. Cherryo's been caught in the middle lane, has the Aegis, but it only buys him a second and a half. He ends up falling as BigManTingz gets yet another kill, and that sure does make the Oni Fury look a lot more like it's got E-Rain's name on it. They head right back and grab the Fury.
No defense either from Renegades. Probably the better call to play no defense. You're down almost 10,000, 8,000 to be more precise. More like 9K. Yeah, whatever, 8,300, and that's a nice look here for Renegades as it's a nice look for Eunited as Renegades look up at the lead. The red, white, and blue have kind of amassed here. The next move for Renegades here to play is going to be under, I thought it'd be under the mid lane tower, but instead it's a back off from United. They've got a ton of gold to spend. It's an Aussie and 2/3 of a Titan's Bane here for BigManTingz. There's a couple of dollars in the pocket.
Yeah, this is a big power spike now for United. They're up 10K in total, and the Fire Giant just about to respawn, so they'll come there. Renegades, without having lost to Phoenix, looks like they are at least going to come out and meet them here in the jungle, try and get some vision of what's going on, but this fight's going to be an uphill battle for them in a pretty major way, and it's felt like they haven't had an answer to Colossus' initiations on these Athena taunts.
They really haven't. The Athena taunts have been big, but the Athena ultimates have been large as well. I mean, that Defender of Olympus with iceicebaby in the mink form just wiggling around, that was a big deal in that last team fight, and it will come up again.
Look at these Magi's cloaks too. That's going to mitigate the bit of CC that Renegades are going to be able to land. As United not even going to start DFG, they're just going to start bullying Renegades out of the jungle, shoving them in lockers. They head right back towards the FG now. It looks like Renegades are done with this. They're not going to stick around and contest. At least not yet. Pyromancer goes away without much contest.
Good. Fire Giants is probably the last fight Renegades can take straight up, and even then it's a stretch. Pyromancer, I don't want to fight over. Fire Giant we can fight over here, but like I said, it will be a stretch. A lot of it will depend on some individual play here. United have had the upper hand the entire time.
It looks like United agree. Instead of fighting on the actual FG and potentially giving Renegades their one last good fight, they'll fight into the tier 2 tower instead. Benji and Kalas happy to be the frontliners here. Meanwhile, the rest of Renegades still not willing to give anything up for free. This is the same tenacity United showed on defense in Game 3. Renegades trying their best to hold on.
Fire Giant is going to be under duress, and this is going to be the back and forth here. How far can United bring the Fire Giant down without Renegades taking the bait? Cherryo has already bitten and is now running away, pinned up, and iceicebaby gonna get the first kill.
iRaffer has dropped the Cataclysm, but he's in no man's land as well. Even with Argus being dropped by Dardez, iRaffer now isolated on the front side. There are the flames over the wall from emilitoo, and they find their second kill of the contest. Funballer takes to the sky. emilitoo has Aegis to buy him time, but Funballer through the trees is able to line up at least one.
And again, avoiding the taunt from Kalas. A nice answer there one more time. 2 for 1, emilitoo the only one dead, but United might not feel confident about Fire Giant any longer.
Only 4 members of them up, so they can't feel particularly good, but they will pull this objective still. Nika right here and available, but they can tell Dardez not in position. Funballer way off by speed. They might not even know how good of a Fire Giant pull this would be for them right now. Instead, they'll try and collapse onto Nika. There's no ultimate for the Jormungandr. Has already used beads, and he's starting to crumble a little bit. In comes Dardez to back up, but the Jormungandr can't survive.
I'm okay with that. He's just wasting time. Funball. Yep, there it is. That's a victory for Renegades. It's a full stop. Nika trades his life to get United off of the Fire Giant. I'm here for that every time. Every single time, Finch. I love that play.
And Renegades now have a little bit of time to farm up because they desperately need it. It's not as bad as it could have been. They're only down about 10,000 gold, and the FG still stands. But every small window that United relents and gives them, they got to make sure they're maximizing in terms of catching back up with some of these build paths. Benji has already sold his blessing at this point, is ready to start working on his 6th item as well. Meanwhile, Dardez has, what, 3 items? Now it's finished his 4th, so you can tell the gap's still there.
Dardez here has the Doom Orb, which is a wildly expensive item. Transcendence, sure. Fire Giant down to 25%, and Renegades are going to look for a steal.
iRaffer moves in right away. Benji drops the Waxing Moon just on the Funballer. Fire Giant at this point has been all but forgotten about. iRaffer gets the Cataclysm off, but still costs him his life. emilitoo gets the kill credit. Cherryo has to use Aegis to stay alive. Funballer finds the shot on BigManTingz way in the back. emilitoo's actually low as well, as they want to try and find their way in, but that's a big taunt from Kalas to slow down the push.
Cherryo, no ultimate available. Benji on the left side, relatively low. Here comes Nika, and he could be the difference maker. Into the World Serpent goes the solo later, and he'll look. One kill was blinked away. Still finds it after the fact onto the tower. Benji cornered and crushed.
somehow Renegades, without Nika for almost the entirety of that fight, have turned it around in their favor. And it's not just stopped them at the FG, but now they're the ones with a decent fight around if they can get back out here. In fact, iRaffer might even be able to be there for it as well with that rollout to catch up. Renegades turn that fight around. I mean, how does that go so well for them when Eunited had every advantage?
Reels. I'm sorry, Funball. Funball is playing this ROM fantastically. I reference one of my old favorite hunters because what a lot of players look for with ROM, and it's not the standard play is not bad, is they look for the stragglers. The fights are starting with Funball, cutting players down, pushing them down low HP, and the team finishing them off. Using the ROM ult early is the game changer here.
Cherryo's on full zone duty. Fire Giant's at half HP. This is not free for Renegades.
Stick to it.
By any means. They are committing as Eunited starts
Stick
to make
to
their
it.
way in. Collis trying to find a way to stop this as well, but he's been polymorphed. Renegades confirm the Fire Giant, and they want the fight on the back end, but the flames from emilitoo a little too hot. Cherryo, sit down.
Nice job there. iRaffer and Dardez stick to the objective. It is the correct call. I love that play. United are going to chase. This is also the correct call. So Renegades have to get the heck out of heat, and I hope, yes, they will. That is a great, great play here. BigManTingz looks for it, but comes up a little bit empty. Renegades have, this is not even a tie game. United are still very much in the lead, but Renegades are doing what they need to get things going. This has been from minute 23, so it's been a 4-minute push here for Renegades. United will get a Primal Fury, and that's the best Fury if you're rooting for Renegades, for United to grab. But since Nika died over there on the right side trying to disrupt the Fire Giant, it's been all Renegades since that moment.
Well, it looks like Renegades are going to make this Fire Giant into a pushing Fire Giant. This could have easily been just a stall, just to buy some time, but they're going to step out and try and grab what farm here they can. The Pyromancer should be relatively easy for them to get here at this point too. United are nowhere nearby. But you're right, Funballer is a bit of a monster here in this game.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's been some really good work from Cherryo and Dardez as well, finding good spots for this Argus, for Cherryo being able to weasel his way in there with that sash in the backline and be that disrupting force. Renegades really starting to show up here and turn this into the kind of set we were hoping it would have been when we saw it on the schedule.
You know, it's really interesting watching Renegades play this because everybody's playing their position a little bit differently. I'm sitting here demanding some extra damage from Cherryo. We're just not going to get it. Instead, we get the control aspect of this composition. Excuse me. Like you said, Dardez looks for a knockup, which isolates the player. Cherryo is able to sash in, maybe get a crit, hit the ring bounce, and then get out of there. And then Dardez is able to just play disruption. iRaffer from the sky, or excuse me, Funball from the sky is lowering players' health threshold so that everybody else just has less to deal with. By lowering the carry's health threshold, United have to play more cautiously, and Renegades have less HP to deal with. It seems like a simple math problem because it is. And Renegades are capitalizing because of everybody kind of playing slightly differently. And guess what? That's how Renegades have found themselves successful over the entirety of the season.
Now with a chance to try and get this game back towards parity. United gave up the tier 2 tower in right, and it looks like they're okay with giving up the tier 2 tower in mid as well. This is all serving the purpose of getting Renegades clawing back into parity in this match. Wow, after these two teams both took kind of rough losses, I was worried that this set might not live up, man, to the billing that it should have, but they've both now shown up here at this point. United in Game 3 and at the control at the beginning of Game 4, and Renegades, their dominant 1 and 2 performance. This is looking much better.
Before, it was not a tie game. Renegades have absolutely tied it now, 76-73 short. There's a 36 or 3,300 gold lead here for the red, white, and blue. It is negated. Renegades have come through, grabbed the objectives, and done their homework. And now they're ready to go for day number 2. And, you know, I think the wind is in the sails of Renegades. So I'll say that they have the momentum, but not the advantage. It is certain the advantage bar is right in the middle. United will meet them with weighted boots at their Phoenixes for sure, but Renegades are the ones who should be on the march.
And United made the call to cede just about everything on the map over to them, and just to stay back on the Phoenixes, kind of let Renegades get a little bit off this and not let the game get out of control. And that's the kind of play that you only make if you are trying to win this game, man, because you could come back out and just take a risky fight or something like that and potentially lose the whole game. But if you're confident in not only this, but winning Game 5 as well, you let them have a couple of Tier 2 towers. Come meet me at my Phoenix or we'll fight you on FG and take the game there.
Yeah, it's a real power move. It's also, I don't know if I love it. United were just too wounded to really make any moves, so yeah, I think they have to. This Fire Giant, though,
yep,
everything's got to be left here.
Oh, they're here for it, ready to defend. They have to make sure they can't allow Funballer to be the one that's controlling these fights too much. Whenever they are low, Funballer's done a great job of picking off these targets, and it makes it so much harder for them to re-engage and use these heals.
Problem is that Funball is nowhere near anywhere anybody from United could even dream of getting close to.
Chang'e does that. Instead of a warrior, they've got a Chang'e, you know, so.
Well, it's not even that. It's the fact that Funball can be on a different continent and still fire those ICBMs. It's really what he's looking for. It's to stay out of range. The Chang'e, sure, definitely changes the way you've got to approach it. But if this Chang'e is a Hercules, I think Funball is still clean and clear.
iCeicebaby drops the taunt on
All
the Rapper early on. Looks as though all the ultimates have been used there from United. That might have been a little bit too much. It's just the Argus and the Cataclysm that come out from Dardez and iRaffer, so Renegades could certainly still re-engage on this next fight. We'll see if United want to stick around.
That was all in from United. That needed to go their way. If it doesn't, I mean, Renegades have all their tools. Like you said, Cataclysm is actually a big one. It's a huge one. But the fact that Cherryo, Nika, and Funball still have their options.
This could still be a strong fight for them. They had to use the shell from iRaffer as well, alongside the beads from Cherryo, so certainly didn't come at no cost. It's just a question of which ones are more valuable. iRaffer does move in, looks to try and proc the Magai's Cloak. Collis, the early targets in the front line, and Funballer right here in range for autos. Fire Giant get a little bit of extra damage, but Cherryo's found himself a target. It's iceicebaby. Funballer with plenty of help from Dardez gets the kill, and now Nika ready to keep that momentum going. They're all lining up for multiple man knockups. Dardez has found his way to Benji. Nika keeping emilitoo low. There's the Aegis, but there's the shot from Funballer coming through too. Spits on him, and emilitoo drops.
Oh my goodness. emilitoo has been made Renegade's human pet this entire game, and iRaffer and Nika just tighten the leash. That's another kill, and I'm with you, Finch. This could be the end of the game.
I think it just might be. Collis, the only one on this Athena who can keep this game alive. The headphones are off for BigManTingz. I think he feels like the rest of us that this one might be done. Renegades were down in this game. They went 40 minutes in Game 4, but not today. They close it out in 4 against United.
It all came down, as iRaffer wiggles away there, it all came down to that Fire Giant fight, Finch. It was an all-in from United, and it almost looked like an ill-placed on her pillar. Friendly fired and own gold them. I don't know, I gotta look at the replay one more time, but either way, if you're gonna all in, you've gotta win that fight.
Yeah, that was tough, man. They tried to take down iRaffer very early on in that game, but it's just not nearly as viable a strategy that late on. And shout-outs to Cherryo, man. I don't know how he managed to get his way in there to find iceicebaby for that ultimate, but that is sick. They blow him up instantly with Dardez's damage.
It was actually, if we can break down the mechanical genius of it, he sashes onto the tanky target and then changes direction and ults him. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, Cherryo, man, having a monster performance here in this game, and United climbing up out of the grave to bring us not just a good Game 3, but a very competitive Game number 4, and almost a 5-game set, but eventually Renegades put them back to sleep and closed this set back out. But I think both teams can feel like they're a little bit more back on track now after this set.
Got to agree with that one. Both teams kind of played out like you said. Both of them stood up at different moments. If I'm ready for the end of the season, this is how I want to look.
Well, we're going to get it back over to the desk. We'll have Aggro and Zeros break it down a little further from here.
Thank you, Finch and Tom. A crazy Game 4 where Renegades end up edging it out, but it was not very easy. Aggro joined by Zeros here on the desk. And Zeros, I mean, that game, United does so many things well. They get a Gold Fury fight going their way. They have a fantastic Fire Giant fight where they juggle aggro perfectly. And then for me, it just felt like Funball single-handedly keeps Renegades in it.
Yeah, for sure. Such a weird game, man. I thought like United really had the momentum back after getting the win in the previous game, and I thought they would just roll with that, while opposite for Renegades, you know, but yeah, like this fight is so big.
United steals that away. That was BigManTingz on her. They get the pick on the Nika, and then they walk straight over to Fire after this. A huge ult from Benji that I don't even know if they knew that their 2 people were coming in.
Yeah.
He just happens to hit 2 more. All the while, emilitoo is keeping Fire unleashed at the exact same time so that they can come back to it. This was a really impressive teamwork display.
One of the most beautiful Fire gun calls I've ever seen, I think. Like, they keep Fire aggroed through all of this, and how many people they kill? 3 or 4 people trying to come in and interrupt them, and they still keep Fire aggroed for the whole time and still get it, and still get all the kills as well.
Really impressive. That was easily the most impressive moment of the match for Eunited, but then Funballer showed up, man. This ROM, I think back to Season 3, Season 4, where he looked like an unstoppable beast on this selection, and really showed up on it again here today, showing that the ROM still's got it at times.
Yeah. Such a disgusting combo as well with ROM and Jorm. There's 2 gods that are, you can't kill them. They're up in the air, returning so much damage. Like, they can choose to go for the backline. Usually the backline, you take the Rama snipes. And while you're getting Rama snipes, you're also getting Jorm ulted, like, so much damage coming out.
That tracking was just perfect. And then this shot onto emilitoo was actually critical that he hits on that 3rd one. That is quintessential Funballer right there. Wrecks you in game and then chuckles to himself about it. 5-0-4 for the ROM player for Renegades. Cherryo in that last team fight with a critical ultimate on iceicebaby. I mean, I thought United's comp worked well. I thought they played it well.
Yep.
And unlike games 1 and 2, where I think a lot of that onus is on them, that they played really poorly, this was a game where I think Renegades just played really, really well.
Yeah, they did. Like, it's such a good comeback as well, right? Like, they're so far behind. They're like 10k behind, and they win a huge fight to Fire and swing the game around. So, just super impressive.
Really good job by Renegades. This is a team that we have seen throughout Phase 2, where they were undefeated after, August or whatever. Even earlier than that, I think it was May or June, was their last loss. Then they took a loss up against Dignitas, and they have righted the ship. You were telling me that you thought that this game was really important, this set was really important for United going into Worlds. Do you think that even though they lose that game 4, do you think the way they played is enough to give them confidence going in?
Yeah, I think after getting the win in the 3rd game, super big for them. Because I think if they get sweep this set, they're like probably super demoralized, and it probably take a while for them to get back on track. But now they got a good win, and they could easily have won this game as well, I think. They didn't, unfortunately for them, but yeah, either way, probably still happy after this, I think.
Certainly a moral victory for the boys of United, but a moral victory is all they get. A real victory goes the way of Renegades. We've got their dynamic duo, Funballer and iRaffer, standing by for an interview.
We do indeed have Funballer and iRaffer here from Renegades. First off, congratulations on the win there, fellas. And what does it mean for y'all to come in and get the win? Because the last set, I imagine, did not go the way that you all wanted to. So to be able to come back in and win a tough one like this, does it mean anything extra here for you guys?
Not particularly, no.
Just beating ML, right?
Yeah, I think it was just beating ML, because at the start I said, we're going to win. No, I was saying I was going to lose, and he said, no, we're losing. And then it ended up, well, I'll win then. He said, well, I'm going to win now. I'll build full damage, hence the deso. But yeah, it was a good set. It was fun.
I 100% believe that, by the way. Question about, jokes about killing Emil. You guys killed Emil a lot. Is that for fun, or was that the strat?
That was the strat, right? Because I think he was just out of position a lot of the time.
It was for fun.
All right, it was for fun, yeah. And then we just picked Athena, and we were like, okay, he's going to play aggressive this set, for example, and then that's the plan, just to kill him on cooldown.
Well, what about in that game 3? That one ended up being a really long, drawn-out match where you all were kind of ahead, and they ended up fighting their way back in it because they couldn't. You could feel like you guys couldn't peel for Dardez. What happened in that game? What went wrong, and then how'd you guys adjust in game 4?
It was a poor goal Fury call. We ended up losing. That was the game we should have won, and then in game 4 we should have lost, and we ended up winning. It's just the classic, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. You guys were, beating the hell out of them in game number 1 and 2, and then game number 4 is a claw back. How is that more difficult to claw your way back into a game after having success earlier?
I feel like the whole team was like, screw it, we're just gonna do what we do, and then I played Rama, and I was like, I'm just locking it in, whatever, even if it's bad, just pick it, yeah.
All right, last thing here. How good do you feel about the Xing Chen? You feel like that's a real pick? You don't want to give too much away? It looked good at the very least here.
It worked, I guess. It's just one of the many gods in the ocean, you know. I can play anything.
That's right, Raffer keeps his options open. Congratulations to both of you all. That's a great win. Appreciate y'all talking to us, and we'll hop right back over to Aggro.
You can tell Funballer really enjoyed that Xing Chen pick by his reaction. I'm sure Raffer was talking all about how hard he was carrying the games on the Xing Chen, and to be fair, he was kind of right. Let's take a look at what the updated standings look like now in the SPL. With this loss, Eunited has finished their regular season. They're at 10-8, and they will be your number 6 seed. Renegades still trying to compete with Splice to get to that 2nd seed point, and it looks like those two of those teams are going to be the 2nd team and the 3rd team in the standings as of right now. Though PK, a couple games next week, so make sure you tune in for that. In fact, why not try to do the schedule right now? Pittsburgh Knights, they've got a doubleheader next week. They go up against Splice on Thursday and then Renegades on Friday. That's a way to close a season, huh? Those are two tough ones.
Super interesting as well. Space Station against SK Game is going to be kind of interesting because I don't sure, are they going to play against each other in the placement week? I'm not sure about that, but if they do, then probably they will want to hide some stuff, right? So
yeah, that's a good point. That's going to be a little bit of a preview of this. This is your placement bracket, your Path to High Res Expo. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. And we're going to start it off with those SMITE Console World semifinals and get to the point where we get those 2 teams. Now, they will play against each other for seeding, but ultimately will both go into the actual bracket. The winner will play the 2nd EU SML team, the loser the 2nd NA SML team. Then we move on to round 2, which is a best of 3. That's where these SPL teams start to come in, and we get all the way towards the end, where you get those back 2. It is double elimination, so don't forget, we got a lot of SMITE coming to you for placement week, man. There's going to be a lot of quality games. Only 2 teams coming out of placement week and going to the SMITE World Championship. We'll be going over all of that very, very shortly here going up next week. So make sure you tune in next week on Monday. We're going to start it off with the final week of Console League here in this Season 6. Thanks so much for watching, as always, from all of us here at Skillshot. We love having you here and love having you watch. We'll see you next week here for SCL. Until then, you can peach it.